hell-bent on winning.
Yeah.
And that's great. That's great. I think that's a huge compliment. I give the 49ers a bunch of credit because of the unselfishness that they have across this roster because they just all want to win. So I think that's a great thing. I still have some work to do on my hating of Shohei Otani. I think once I see him in the uniform, that'll do it. But I'm not there yet because I love watching this guy play. I love what seems to make him tick. But by the same token, this is wild. And I don't think that most of us who are not experts on the CBT or the CBA of baseball, I would not have known that you could defer this amount of a contract. And it does make me wonder. I'm not screaming this ain't fair, but it surprises me that you're allowed to do this.
I'm looking at Jeff Passan's tweet now, and Jeff Passan is citing the CBA. And Jeff Passan says, for anyone wondering if MLB will challenge this contract, the answer is unequivocally no. Article 16, under the heading of deferred compensation, there shall be no limitation on either the amount or the percentage of total compensation attributable to deferred compensation for which a uniform player's contract may provide.
There you go.
So he can defer. He could have deferred all 700. He could have deferred all $700 million. He deferred $680 of the $700 million, which, to your point, he's making $2 million a year over the 10 years. He doesn't even care. He's making $50 million off the field, and when he retires, and he may not be making that $50 million off the field anymore, he'll be making $68 million a year in retirement. Genius.
Can I just roll through the text that just came in on our text line?
Sure.
WTF. These are all separate people.
Okay.
WTF. I'm done with baseball. Wow. Taxes avoidance. Dodgers, the USC of baseball. So why can't the Giants do that?
Aha. That's the one that I was going to get to in my own mind because...
Well, they can.
But
they can.
I mean...
This was his idea.
Right. Well, why weren't they the ones to have this idea sprung upon Shohei Otani?
I'm sure they did. He wanted to be on the Dodgers because they've got a better organization right now.
Yeah, there's that. There's that.
I mean...
It's an inconvenient truth,
remember,
Alcor.
if this is Shohei's idea, he's basically selecting the contract and the team.
Right.
Like, this was told to me a long time ago when LeBron was a free agent. This is back, the Miami Heat stuff and then back to the Cleveland Cavaliers. And this is from a reporter who had spoken to LeBron's agent. And they're like, I don't think you understand the power that LeBron has. So people were all running around going, who's got the cap space to fit LeBron? Right. And the agent was like, no, you don't understand. LeBron's going to go play where LeBron wants because whatever LeBron wants, the team is going to do whatever it is to make that work. So we don't need to look for who can afford him. The answer is all of them. And the agent said this quote, goes, let's be honest. If LeBron wanted a team in Vegas, the NBA would just put a team in Vegas and he'll go play there. It's funny that we're years later and guess what's going to happen in a few years? It's going to be a team in Vegas.
Right.
Guess who's going to own it? LeBron James. Because he's got that kind of juice. Shohei is the LeBron of baseball. Shohei controlled this whole thing. He can sit down with his agent and go, where do I want to play? How much do I want to play for? What's that going to look like? How can we make it so that teammates can still be taken care of on that team? It's all conducted by Shohei. So I do want to paint that picture. This idea that everybody sat in a room and there were 6 different meetings and he went room to room and everybody gave their pitch and who had the best video.
But he said, if you talk about my free agency, Mark, I won't sign there. Right. What about that report?
What about it?
Shohei's a liar.
Well,
he's a tax cheat and a liar.
My guess is that Dave Roberts already knew that they had him.
I say jail.
I say jail.
I do too. I agree with that. You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ, FM in HD1 San Francisco, always live on the free Odyssey app, Twitch, and YouTube. So he's in complete control.
Right.
So he just goes, I want to play on that team. And we've been talking about it for a long time. You already live in Southern California. All the reports were he loves Southern California. He's hell-bent on winning. The Dodgers were the favorite all along. Nobody thought otherwise. And so here we are. So Shohei said, I'll go to the Dodgers. Let's approach them with this idea, because they may say, do you want 500? And we want 700. So here's how we get them to say yes. We'll do 700. It's funny money. It's funny money. The Dodgers can pay this off the books.
Well, and by the time he's done, I don't know what the Dodgers are worth. Let's say the Dodgers right now are worth $4 billion.
North, but
and I'm ballparking it because, the Dodgers are probably a top 10 franchise in American sports in terms of how much they're worth.
No doubt.
If they're worth $4 billion and you're looking it up and you're going to tell me
4.8.
Oh, it's not a bad guess.
No, it's a very good guess.
They're worth 4.8. So when he retires, it's probably going to be worth 6.5.
Oh, I'd argue,
7.
I'd argue it goes way north of 4.8 as of Saturday morning.
Okay.
So that was pre-Otani.
Let's just say in 10 years when he's done playing, it's worth 8.
Okay, $8 billion.
Can they afford at that point to pay him out $68 million a year over 10?
They can afford it now.
Of course. But I mean, in terms of how you sell it to the team, it's an easy sell. Him being on your team for 10 years, you're going to win between 0 and 10 championships.
Correct.
And
those are the options.
Let's say it's 0.
Gosh, if it's 0, that'd be so fun.
It would be a lot cooler if it were 0. Let's say it's 0.
Yeah, you got any relievers in there, Otani? What about that?
Yeah, I think the bottom of their order is going to be a little weak. Once you get past the 7 All-Stars they have.
Some guy goes, oh my God, Betts, Otani, and Freeman. And I'm like, yeah, but who's batting 4th?
Exactly.
Take that. Some people,
for data.
Some idiots took it seriously. They're
no doubt.
Oh, they've got Muncy and Will Smith. I'm like, shut up and take the joke.
Exactly.
Anyway, go ahead.
No, I think the point is not so much about the Dodgers and can they do it. The bigger point is what this means for baseball to me, because baseball has always been the haves and the have-nots, but now we're getting to a point where this is more ridiculous than ever, because we have this in the NBA where the NBA is already haves and have-nots, and you made a great point in your story about LeBron James, and you're absolutely right. And that's the case where you look at the league, and there are always going to be 20 to 24 teams that have no chance. And that, what does that do for the overall appeal of the league? The NBA is a little different because you can still see stars in action, and it's a little bit more of a show. In baseball, you could look at 20 teams right now that are mostly unwatchable, and not only unwatchable for the general public, but even for their own fan base.
No, you're spot on. You're spot on, and that's the issue here. And I just I don't want it to sound like sour grapes because the Giants didn't get them. But contracts like this, I think it's easy for most baseball fans, if you really follow the sport and you watch what's been going on, where half of the teams are flat out not trying. Contracts like this are bad. They're bad. They're bad for. It's funny that they call this competitive balance, because this is absolutely the opposite of that. It's terrible for competitive balance. For those of you listening here in the Bay Area, this is part of what leads to things like what happened with the Oakland A's. This is part of it. Yes, the blame is mainly on John Fisher, but people like that are empowered to do things like that because of this. And so it's also bad for players, quite frankly, because it lessens the number of real employers out there who will pay top dollar for top talent. And I would argue it also lessens the achievement at the end. Oh, they beat 30 teams. No, you didn't. You beat 6.
Exactly.
You beat 6 teams, and you doubled their spending. Do you know what I mean? It's like Billy Madison playing dodgeball. It's like you can throw the ball off a kindergartner. You're 6 feet tall.
Exactly.
So that's what I don't like about it.
Well, if you're Kansas City, if you're Oakland, if you are any of these other small market or small-minded teams, what are your goals? So if you're the A's and you really want to compete and try to win, what would be the amount of money it would take for you to get your team competitive enough and good enough to really compete?
Yeah.
Either you have to be amazing in the draft, like Tampa's done a great job without spending a lot of money. Tampa's the outlier, but all the other teams that try to do it that way, you've got no shot.
But even when they do it, it's short-lived, because once somebody's ready to get paid, they've got to go. And that's the cycle that is so maddening for so many teams. Why the Giants are so maddening is that they're not one of those teams, and they still don't put the money out there or can't get someone to take it or any of that. 888-957-9570. Real quick note also, by the way, our YouTube feed went down very, very briefly, momentarily, so a lot of you hopped off. Get back on. We're up and running, and now, crazy update, we're actually called Willard and Dibs.
Look at that.
Right? There's the reboot. So we're now back. We're rocking and rolling. We are Willard and Dibs. Get back over to YouTube right now with all your friends over there. We'll comment. We'll connect with you. You can watch the show as you always do. Just want to let everyone know we're backing up and running and apologize.
Oh, I see I'm being blamed.
For that momentary.
Thanks, Loco Moco.
No, it is your fault.
Bunch of crap.
That's your role here.
The champ was running around with his head cut off.
Well,
and it's my fault.
He's having a rough day. He's having a rough day.
Hang in there, champ.
It's an elimination sensation.
That's a buck.
Let's go to Connor in San Leandro. Hey, Connor, you're on with Willie and Debbie. What are you doing?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Just a little working from home, really enjoying down the breakdown that you and Dibs just provided, Mark. So listen, I feel like rather than opposing this at the next CBA, we need to realize that the Giants have more in common league-wide with the Dodgers than we have, differences from them. And this could really benefit us. Just think about the fact that our owner said he wants to somewhat break even. Well, guess what? Now with all these advanced financialization products that we're turning these baseball salaries into, you can do exactly that. And you can even leverage those real estate holdings to compete with the Dodgers long term. And I do want to also, just put out this consideration, which is this is the first time that anyone has done this. The courts haven't ruled on it, et cetera, et cetera. This might be a risky move. So if we really do care about eventually not getting mad and getting even with the Dodgers, I feel like the right phrase here is it's not the early bird that gets the worm. It's the second mouse that gets the cheese. Let the Dodgers make this mistake and then learn from their mistakes. And I know that this is a little bit early and premature, but once we're past Farhan, maybe figure out how we could take advantage of this long term.
Yeah, but Connor, it seems like you're insinuating that this is going to be a mistake because there are going to be legal ramifications down the road. Or financially, this will put the Dodgers in a hole, and I don't think either of them have much of a chance of being true at all.
We'll see, and I respect your opinion on that, but it just feels so risky. I don't want my franchise to be bet on this, and if the Dodgers want to do that, that's fine. I'm happy settling for second, third, or fourth if Farhan can take that out of free agency. And thanks for considering my point of view.
Yeah, Connor, thanks.
Always, Connor.
Yeah,
we will always consider your point of view.
Yeah, I'm not happy with second, third, or fourth place at all. And I guess, and I could be wrong, but the insinuation is that, that this is going to have legal ramifications or will be reviewed down the road because it's such a new way of doing things. You pointed out the Jeff Passan tweet.
Article 16.
This is not illegal, and if this leads to it being illegal, too late. It's grandfathered in,
right?
And the Dodgers are now going to be paying almost $70 million a year off the books, off the cap, later, 10 years from now. Like, no big deal. You're the Dodgers. As you just pointed out, this is already, like in this moment, this is at minimum a $5 billion property.
Exactly. And by then it's an $8 billion property.
They're going to have, the money that they rake, the attendance now, the merchandising, the globalization,
all that
of having them on your team. Like, I know it sounds crazy, but $68 million a year for a retired guy that creates this buzz, it's a drop in the bucket for that organization.
Especially 10 years from now.
Nothing.
And this is not going to ever go away because the Players Union, the Players Association, they want this in there. They want their players to be able to get this kind of money. And if the owners don't want to do these deals, they don't have to. So no one's going to strike this provision from the books. Do you think the Dodgers are unhappy that they're able to pay this guy $2 million a year for 10 years? They're thrilled. And yeah, $68 million down the road, that might be, an annoying payment to have to make, but ownership might not even own the team then.
I mean, you think that's going to in some way put the Dodgers in financial distress?
Of course not.
No, it won't. It won't. The thing's an absolute cash machine. And they've got 10 years to, if they wanted to be like, hey, just off of Otani, let's put 68 a year away now in a side account so that we can pay him in 10 years, easy.
Yeah.
I mean, you could already count 20 or 30 just by his presence alone. Bang. Like that's already, that's flat. Like that from merchandising, from the fan base now that's in Japan, all of it. That like in market too. No, that's $20 to $30 million just for showing up. If he starts winning MVPs and World Series and it keeps going, forget about it.
The deferred amount is more than what the A's paid for their entire team last year.
Exactly.
$62 million the A's paid.
Monster Monday brought to you by First 5 California. To learn 4 things you can do to overcome toxic stress, go to first5california.com. Scott, RJ, you're coming up next. Jump on. We're talking this out. We'll get back to Niners coming up as well. 888-957-9570. Willard and Dibbs.
This is the lunch rush at your local deli. Orders are flying.
How high are you right now?
I'm high, bro.
Now, back to Willard and Dibs on 95.7 The Game.
I'm trying to acquire the facial expression that captures this story.
The Otani story?
Yeah, just all of it. And I don't just mean today. I mean the fact that he went to the Dodgers. $70 million a year is the number.
Kinda. ...
Kinda. It's actually 2. If you're just joining us, details of the Otani contract have been made public, and 68 of the $70 million on an annual basis will be deferred. Shohei will start making that money as soon as the contract ends in 10 years. 46 of it cannot be deferred in terms of the competitive balance tax. So, in other words, sort of like flash it to the NFL. The cap hit is 46. The cash out is 2. And then the overall number is 70.
The guarantees.
With 68 being paid later, and Shohei will be taxed on that when he makes it. So
this is a Parag special, is what this is, because this is what Parag Marate and the Niners does so well.
That's a great point.
He signs you, and you get your guaranteed number, and then a couple years down the road, he knocks on your door and says, we're going to need to do a little reconfiguration sensation here, cha-ching, and kick your money, get some non-voidable years, or some voidable years, rather, down the road, and spread your money out a little bit, if you wouldn't mind, so we can sign A, B, and C as well. And we don't often see this in baseball, and especially at this level.
Well, but it's all guaranteed in baseball, as you know.
Right.
So this guy basically just signed, he signed a 20-year, $700 million contract. During 10 of those years, he's got to play baseball.
Right.
The other 10, he can just sit on his butt.
He basically said to Bobby Bonilla, hold my beer. Because Bobby Bonilla still gets 1.04 million.
And people still party. I think it's like July 1st.
Right.
It's Bonilla Day.
Exactly.
Oh, there's no more Bonilla days.
No.
Now it's going to be Otani Day, and it's 68 times bigger.
In 2033, Shohei Otani is going to be 40. He might still be playing, but let's just pretend he's not playing anymore. And we're at whatever tax-free municipality he decides to call home. Can you imagine that direct deposit? He gets that lump sum. You basically win the lottery every year for 10 straight years.
You do. And the Dodgers probably won the lottery as well. I think from a financial standpoint, it's a low risk, no risk. But on the other side of it, when you throw numbers around like that, the risk is almost more emotional than it is financial. I mean, this is somebody who has had 2 Tommy John surgeries. This is somebody who may only pitch at a high level for 2, 3, 4 more years, and this year won't be one of them. Other injuries could certainly come up. Again, this is signing someone for his 30s. I'm not trying to say that I wouldn't do it if I were the Giants. I'd do it if I were any of the teams. I would do it every single time. But you are opening yourself up to the fan experience being, shall we say, something that's going to be hard to meet. The expectation and the feel right now of what this is going to look like for the next 10 years, and that number that's in everybody's brain, $700 million, if his best production is already behind him with the Angels, that'll be interesting to hear how that sounds. Even in 6 years, 7 years, 37 years old with 4 more years on the deal. It'll be interesting to see the way the fans are reacting to that if you're looking at a broken down DH who doesn't pitch and hits 24 homers a year.
Right. I think it depends on what the first 6 years look like. If you've got multiple World
4
Series.
rings.
Well, even if you've got, you got to put the bar a little bit lower for the Dodgers, because the Dodgers have kind of won since 88.
Not really.
Well,
not really.
Should
Should have given him a bracelet. That's not a ring.
Yeah.
The bracelet.
It's like one of those toe rings that no one ever sees.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Oh, a charm bracelet.
They have whatever they have, that's all they've got. They shot their shot, and that's all they've got since 88.
Yeah.
So even if they get one real one with Otani, that would be better than what they have right now.
No doubt. No doubt. All right.
Which I definitely think will make, however it ends, because it's not going to end well. Unless this guy turns out to be LeBron. You made the LeBron comp before, and just 30 seconds on LeBron and the IST, the in-season tournament, which everybody is just crushing over the weekend as a sham and a farce and all the rest of it. We're going to put that aside for the sake of this statement. LeBron James, I mean,
he can still play.
Is he playing the best basketball of his career?
He can still play.
Guy's unbelievable.
Incredible. Just incredible. Just incredible. I mean, look,
Tom Brady.
I don't want to.
Yes,
I don't want to
over 40.
Yeah. I don't want to do this today, but the whole like the MJ LeBron thing is just romantic. That's what it is. Like if you really want to, like, forget three-peat and then another three-peat, and like it's just about rings. That's it. 6, 4, no, MJ. Like, yeah, MJ's the best because the people who do most of the talking in American sports media, that was our romantic time. That's when you look back on it and you're like, we were in college and I was 29 and that was when it was good. If you listed all the aspects of sport, all of them, not just who do you want with a dagger shot at the end of Game 5 of the NBA Finals, if you listed all things having to do with an NBA player, the whole picture, what he does for teammates, longevity, dealing with social media, if you put all that on a piece of paper, come on, man. Come on. Like, it's unbelievable. It's at minimum a really even Steven conversation. I know that fights everybody's romanticism. Oh, he passed once. Okay, great. Like, come on, man. He's absolutely insane. It's just been an incredible career.
Yeah.
It's not over.
Coming up on 39 here in a couple of weeks and still playing at the level at which he's playing. And he will be the first ever player to play alongside his son whenever Bronny decides to leave USC.
We'll see.
I think it's definitely
just
going to
hoping
happen.
that Bronny's going to be healthy enough to continue and play basketball.
I think Bronny played this weekend.
He
did he not?
Scored his first bucket.
Okay, so there you go. And, whether or not he's good enough to play in the association, he's going to get a chance to play alongside Dad. You mentioned it earlier about if LeBron wants there to be a team in Poughkeepsie, and if he wants Poughkeepsie to play alongside of him,
or Pajemski,
that's going to happen.
Yep, that's true.
Yeah,
that's true. All right. If you're a Giants fan, how does all of this make you feel? Shohei to the Dodgers, 68 of the 70 million deferred for 10 years. If you're a Giants fan, how does this make you feel? 888-957-9570. And then coming up here in about 20 minutes, we're going to circle back to the best team in the National Football League. That's the 49ers. Scott in Marin. Hey, Scott, you're on with Willard and Dibbs. What's up?
I'm just trying to calculate the savings on the California taxes this guy's going to do. I mean, it's actually a brilliant move by both. I mean, as much as it sucks to be a Giants fan now, and probably will be for the next 10 years, I mean, but it actually makes sense financially for both of them because he's going to go when he's done playing. He'll be who knows where he's going to be. Like Dib said, some tax-free municipality. So he'll save 13.3% on his taxes not being in California. So, it's going to make sense as far as that goes. But, this is the only way they can do these contracts now. I mean, pretty much everybody's deferring. And, this is a little ridiculous.
Well,
but,
like a bubble's got to go ahead, Scott.
No, I'm just going to say it's just, it is pretty stunning to see him defer this kind of and avoid a heavy tax on the club, and so now they can go out and go after whoever they want to still.
Yep.
So it'd be one thing if they hamstring the Dodgers and they can't do much more than him, but that's not the case. So I like you said, the Giants can do the very same thing. The problem is What are you going to do? As far as the competitive baseball, you know what baseball is going to say? Well, check what was the payroll of the Arizona Diamondbacks last year. It's a hard thing to quantify. You know, I mean,
totally.
I mean that lineup is going to be crazy.
Oh, that's going to be insane, Scott. Yeah, thank you so much. You make a lot of good points on this.
The answer, by the way, is almost $9 million in state tax. A 13% on $68 million is $8.84 million. So he moves out of California,
Florida, Texas, whatever.
Pick your state, whatever state is tax free. You avoid $9 million in state taxes.
Amazing.
Boom.
Amazing. You think you'll be able to afford a house in one of those places?
Maybe.
All right.
Maybe.
So, look, this is the question that no player should even have to think about. If I were in his position, I'd do the exact same thing. I'm not sitting here thinking about grander issues of the game, but I do wonder when somebody's going to think about them. Do you know what I mean? And again, I want to say this very, very clearly. No sour grapes here at all. If I'm the Dodgers, I do this. If I'm Shohei, I do this. And quite frankly, it's not that I don't blame the Giants for not offering the same. They may well have. I don't even think offers, it's likely that offers didn't even go Shohei's way. It's probably the other way around.
Right.
Like Shohei went to the teams and went, because you've heard all those reports, it was Shohei's idea. Yeah, they probably were like, this is what we're going to do. You in or you out? Because if you're out, we'll go find another team to say yes. $700 million. We'll defer a bunch so we can still play. You want to do this? Because if not, I'll go be a Cub or whatever.
Right.
Like that's all going to be on the table. So there's no sour grapes here, but you do have to wonder when the bubble bursts. And when do you get to a point if you're baseball and you start to think about, all right, so here come the Dodgers with Shohei and Freeman and Betts and Will Smith and Max Muncy. Okay, that's their lineup. $68 million is being deferred off of one hitter. That's more than the payroll of the team that they're playing on a Tuesday night. And then they're celebrating with champagne like they achieved something. It's like, what the hell did you just achieve? If you're going to build a sport.
It's a checkbook championship.
Yeah, well,
Mark,
I mean,
what it is.
It's a hell of a lot more than what the Warriors did.
No doubt.
You know, the Warriors
at least have a luxury tax that they have to navigate. Baseball doesn't really have that.
The Warriors and Niners lucked into this by getting players at a high level on an insane discount. The Dodgers aren't discounting anybody. They're deferring and they're playing by the rules, and they should get a high five for it. But the reason, like I know no one wants to look at it this way. This is among, to me, one of the top 3 reasons why the NFL is so successful is because Green Bay, Wisconsin, and Jacksonville, Florida can compete with New York, and Los Angeles, California. Like, without even blinking. Nobody even hesitates, right? In fact, Green Bay, Wisconsin visits L.A., and Green Bay fills the building with their fans. You can do that in the NFL. You can't do that in baseball.
No.
So what is it you're achieving if you just do stuff like this where you're like, we're going to keep pounding until we just financially, star power-wise, overwhelm all of you into submission? Okay, you can do it. I got no anger for it, but what did you achieve when you beat the Pirates? What'd you do? What'd you really do? I haven't even heard of any of the Pirates. And every single player on your team's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, doesn't mean that you're necessarily going to win the World Series, though.
Nope, it doesn't.
As we saw this year. And, you had San Diego, and you had the Mets, and you had the Yankees, and you had other high-priced teams that were unable to get it done. So it doesn't guarantee you anything. I think it guarantees you more in the NBA than it does in baseball.
Agreed.
In terms of having the most talented team or the highest paid team. It definitely helps you more in the NBA. Football is such a crapshoot because of injury and also because the nature of the way the talent is spread out through, the draft. And ultimately, if you don't have a quarterback, you don't have a chance. You can have, like the Jets are a great example. The Jets have a really, really good team, a really good roster.
Yep.
And they had a quarterback, but he got hurt, and now they don't have a quarterback, and so they're done. And that's basically the way that goes. If Shohei Otani gets hurt, the Dodgers still have a very good team. Or, if the Yankees, if they lose Judge, or, any of these other, quote, super teams. But the problem with baseball is that there is no solution because the Baseball Players Union is so strong and they've fought for things like deferred compensation, and they will forever rail against any real hard cap, any hard salary cap, because they want their players to make the most possible money. So if the players don't care about competitive balance and the owners don't really care about competitive balance, then we're all screwed.
Yeah. I mean, I think about a sports fan in Kansas City. You got the face of football shows up every single Sunday. And
crying like a baby yesterday.
Right. But if I was a sports fan in Kansas City, I would move on from baseball. I'd be like, what are we doing here? What's here for us? It's kind of why I didn't like the in-season tournament. And that's what I'm getting at. Like if I'm a sports fan in Kansas City, I'm looking at this whole framework and I'm going, I get that this is really fun for the sports fans in California, but why do they get everything? Why? Why should they have all of the players? Why should they have all of the money and get to do this so that they get to go get the next star too? At a certain point, people are going to raise their hands and go, I'm sorry, is it my turn ever? Do I get a turn or do I just have to sit here? Like, we're turning half of baseball into the Washington Generals. You're just here on the road for our entertainment. That's it. We're here to use you as placeholders for our achievement. And that's the Globetrotters, and that's okay because you buy a ticket to see tricks. But that's not what this is supposed to be. And it feels like we're heading there, if we're not already there.
Well, we've been there for a long time.
Yeah, maybe.
In terms of...
This feels like a bigger version of it.
This is a bigger version because of the way that this all went down with the way that the contract is. And the Dodgers aren't done. That's what makes this feel like it's a bigger version of it because Shohei Otani is making $2 million a year this season. And I know that the cap hit, quote unquote, is $46 million, but that's not such a big number that it's going to prevent them from going out and getting Yamamoto or getting Hader or getting anybody else that they want to get. They can still spend and they can still, stack their roster to where they need to stack it. And that's the biggest issue, I think, in terms of this feeling different from other big deals.
Let's go to RJ in Napa. Hey, RJ, you're on with Willard and Dibs. What's up?
Hey, guys. I know you'd wanted to hear from Giants fans, but I thought I would bring a perspective. I'm a Tigers fan by birthright, and I'm an A's fan by proximity. Grew up as an A's fan as a kid. And I got to tell you, baseball has been the absolute S's for me the last, 5, 10, 15 years, whatever it's been. And this Otani thing, I got to say, is pretty much the final nail for me. I just knowing that my teams, one is moving to Las Vegas and the other one has no chance whatsoever. I mean, I know, big baseball doesn't care about me, the little fan, but I would assume that if they lost that many more fans, they would start to pay attention. I'm just pretty discouraged by the whole thing. So thanks for taking my call, gentlemen.
Yeah, RJ, thanks. You know what's interesting there? There are also teams out there in baseball that get labeled small market and they're not. Even the image that goes through your head when RJ's like, so I grew up as a Tigers fan. And you immediately go, oh, yeah, the Tigers.
Yeah.
That's a top 5 market. That's Detroit.
Yeah.
That's Detroit,
not quite
Michigan.
top 5, but it's
top
big.
7. It's. I'll look it up. It's definitely top 10. I think it's like 6, 4, 5, or 6. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Point is, that's Detroit, freaking Michigan. But that's the.
I got it at 14. But go ahead.
14?
You got New York, LA, Chicago, and Philly.
Yeah.
You got Dallas, Houston, Atlanta.
Houston and Atlanta are bigger than Detroit, Michigan.
Oh, Houston's huge.
As a media market?
Yeah,
I'm not talking about the size of the city. I'm talking about as a media market.
I'm looking at the Nielsen rankings, the designated market areas.
And then if that's the case, then I stand corrected. But either way.
It's still big enough.
Detroit, Michigan is not a small town.
Right.
Right? So the point being is we end up doing that with some of these markets. I mean, it sort of happened to Oakland. Like, oh, Oakland. Yeah, Oakland, the Bay Area. the Bay Area, California. What are you doing? There's nothing small about this. You know what I mean? Santa Clara is bigger than some of the markets that have baseball teams. So we end up doing that with some of these teams where the owners cry poor and should not be allowed to. But when we get to this point, you start to understand a little bit about the things that happen in the NBA. You know, this happens in the NBA all the time. There's not a lot you can do about it. The Sacramento Kings are never going to sign the marquee free agent. It's totally impossible.
Yeah.
There are ways around it, but when you start seeing stuff like this in baseball, it's almost like all those owners that we've gotten mad at through the years for not keeping up. You're like, okay, I get why you can't do that. I get why
to an extent.
I get why
certainly.
Tampa can't do this.
Right. And so you have to go about it in a different way.
Totally.
And Tampa's been great at doing that very thing in terms of, drafting guys and making the most of them while you can, and then trading for guys and hoping you can keep them at least for the short term, and, doing all you can. And that's why I look at the Giants, and maybe it's because of the ballpark. Maybe it's because your team is not that good or that competitive relative to these other places. You got to find different ways to bring in talent, because you can't just sit back and try to unload big money offers, especially for hitters, because it's not working. These hitters aren't coming here. So now you need to pivot into a new strategy and either trade for these guys or go all in on pitching and defense and just completely stay away from these sluggers.
Well, I think it's both. And it does set up. It's set up. Remember the feeling when the Giants won 107 games and beat the Dodgers by 1 game. And the feeling was, it's like, oh, man, not that the Giants are small market or even at a small payroll is smaller than I'd like it to be, but they were top 15, top half of the league. But you looked at it and went, like, it became an easy group to root for because they feel like David against Goliath. Well, that's going to be the case now, even more so with everybody against the Dodgers, the whole league. And you look at the standings from last year, and I know where it ended up, and I know who won the World Series and all of that. But look at last year. The Baltimore Orioles had the best record in the American League. The Baltimore Orioles, and most of us could barely name a player on the team. Not that they're a small city either, but you get what I'm saying. Like, there's other ways to do this. Minnesota won a division. Milwaukee won a division. The Arizona Diamondbacks made it all the way to the end. So that's the other thing that I do think could end up being a positive, not just for the Giants, but for everybody not named the Dodgers. There is now a big mark on the Dodgers, which is you have to win the World Series or it's almost laughable. It's almost laughable. And it's not that easy. Like, if you offered me right now Dodgers versus the field, I'd totally take the field. Totally. In baseball, every time.
Right. In baseball, certainly.
Yeah.
And I wonder if the new World Series odds have reflected the Shohei Otani signing yet. I'll see if I can get those for the other side, but the Dodgers are going to have to be the prohibitive favorites.
Oh, no question. Yeah, we're presented by Fremont Bank, full-service banking, no compromises. Got some more calls to get to on this, but also it is a Victory Monday. You, Bay Area, you've got the best team in football. What'd you love? What'd you think? That's what we do on Monday. That's what's coming up next on Willard and Dibs.
My little brother's friends have been camped out at our place.
stopcovid19.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Blitz coming. Picked up. Purdy sets. Launch. Has Samuel wide open. He's got it. Touchdown.
Now, back to Willard and Dibs on 95.7 The Game.
Can I play you something that Debo said about that play? Kevin Burkhardt Fox, by the way.
Do it.
Want to hear it?
Play that thing.
Want to hear it?
You won't. That's for you, Lucas.
Like to hear it? Here it go. On the deep ball to Debo. Check it out.
You know, it's crazy as we worked that play at practice, that was like the last option to be thrown. And so, Brock just being the quarterback he is, and just whenever he sees something, he's going to let it go. As you can see, I really wasn't running 100 miles per hour. But once I looked back and seen Brock getting ready to cock and throw it, I had to speed up. But that's just something that we work on every year in camp, and we slowly progressing to get better at it.
Pause. Everybody is fine. It's all okay.
We dumped that? Did we dump?
It's okay. It's okay, BC Brock. It's fine.
So Brock was
good.
Cocking it?
We're
Brocking
good.
and cocking?
Yeah,
we're brocking and cocking now? Is that what we're doing in here?
Just stop. Anyway, point is,
it's like a rap song. Brocking and cocking and locking.
If you are a system quarterback and you are dink and dunk, and I know come on, it's all been dispelled. No one's saying that anymore unless you're just trying to tick people off. You don't make throws like that. That was the last option. I love that. You know what I mean? What I really love about watching this 49er team now is sort of seeing all of the different pitches they have. They feel like a pitcher who's got 5 different ways to get you out. You know, it's one thing if you're just like even I look at the Cowboys. Okay, let's take the Dallas Cowboys. You got a hell of a fastball. I think it's their only pitch, but they got a hell of a fastball.
Right.
Their fastball is Dak Prescott is accurate, strong-armed, and CeeDee Lamb is running around out there.
Yeah.
And there are other people who can get in on the mix if you cover CD, Gallup, Jake Ferguson, the tight end, Brandon Cooks.
It's pretty standard, though. They go one running back, one tight end, 11 personnel, and their receivers are better than the guys who are covering them.
And their running back is not going to hurt you. Tony Pollard's fine, but their run game is not going to beat you.
Nope.
I know at the start of the year we had all thought their defense was terrifying. They're not.
It's good.
It's fine. Geno Smith torched them a week and a half ago. So
every defense has a bad day.
They do.
Joe Burrow torched the Niners.
Dallas has had a few of them.
Yep.
Including at the hands of these 49ers.
You talk about Dallas is probably not going to win a game 17-14. They're going to need to win 35-31 in general.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, they're good. They've got a really good fastball. They are Camilo Doval. But do you have a second pitch? Do you have a third pitch? The Giants, the Niners feel like Greg Maddux. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to McCaffrey. I got Debo, but he's 2 players. And we can do Ayuk. And
McCaffrey's 2 players.
He's 2 players. We've got one of the best tight ends. We've got a left tackle that we can just run off of all day long, and there's not a damn thing you can do about it. And oh, by the way, in the end, the one thing that the league was holding out hope on was that their quarterback play would be inconsistent, make rookie mistakes, what have you. It turns out not only do they have a guy who's functional, they've got someone when all of those other things break down, he can go ad lib and throw the ball right over your head and drop it in the bucket. It's a problem. The Niners are a problem, and if they are healthy, I don't really, at this hour, have a great reason why they will not win the championship.
It would be mistakes, and, mistakes can be forced, and mistakes can be self-inflicted. Niners are making fewer mistakes now of the self-inflicted variety than ever before in terms of penalties, certainly turnovers. I know they had the one interception, which was bad throw, bad route, combination of the two, whatever it was. It didn't
fumble.
Didn't cost you, though.
Nope.
because they didn't score on the subsequent drive. The biggest edge that they have is in their personnel. So when they break the huddle and they've got the fullback in there, 21 personnel, or the fullback's out and they have the 2 tight ends when Warner comes in, you still can't scheme against it. And that's the biggest challenge that they present. So when the Niners sub and you see Warner come in and Juszczyk go out, and you look and you go, okay, they got 2 tight ends. They're going with the 1 running back and the 2 tight ends. So I'm going to send in an extra linebacker thinking that they're going to run the football here. Or maybe Juszczyk is on the field and you only have 1 wide receiver and it's 22 personnel. And you're thinking, all right, we're going to go out of the nickel defensively. We're going to bring in our heavy guys. Well, all of a sudden they break the huddle and now McCaffrey's out wide and Debo's in the backfield and Kittle goes in motion. Now you got 5 guys in the pattern anyway. And now it's a passing situation, and you've got linebackers trying to cover the running backs and tight ends and a fullback who is good enough to get open against your linebacker. So from a scheme standpoint, they're a nightmare. You can't just decide based on personnel what the Niners are going to do. Shanahan puts personnel in, and then he might run anything under the sun. And that's a huge advantage in terms of like what the defense is trying to game plan against.
Starting to get pretty exciting.
It's super exciting.
Yeah, because the calendar's flipped to December, and you can smell it. And I think one thing, thing, you know what and I'm going to freely admit this, you know what we've underrated today as far as our conversation? I don't think we've said one time that the Niners yesterday moved into the 1 seed. And that is a big flipping deal.
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now that if this team is blessed with health and home field advantage, I want you to listen to me right now, and I want you to buy your loved ones a hotel room in Vegas for February.
That's expensive.
Damn right. Maybe go Verbo, Henderson, Nevada. Maybe just drive in on that day. Whatever it is, I'm telling you right now that if this team is healthy and the 1 seed, they are going. Nobody is coming into Levi's Stadium and beating a healthy 49er football team. And I know that's a little bit of a qualified statement because it's like, okay, what does healthy mean? I don't know. If you give me a short list of players, who's on it? Provided that if you give the 49ers the 1 seed, Brock Purdy, and Christian McCaffrey, Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, Trent Williams, the receivers, if those guys are all active for those 2 games that you have to play if you're the 1 seed, you're not winning. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're Dallas or Philly or you're not coming in here and beating that team. That's where I think we're at.
I think that that's a fair statement to make. And, if you get the 1 seed, that means you either run the table or you only suffer 1 loss. And, Philadelphia is probably going to suffer another loss. And
you see who they play. I mean,
it's pretty soft.
Monday night at Seattle, it might be your last shot.
A desperate Seattle team.
And they might lose it. You're right.
They have the Giants twice
twice.
And Washington.
Or no, it's in Arizona, I think.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. The schedule rest of the way for Philly goes at Seattle, home to Giants, home to Cardinals, at Giants.
Yeah.
I mean, it's football, and they're leaking oil. So sure, they could lose.
Right.
They could lose. They could lose Monday night in Seattle. Absolutely, they could lose.
The Giants to me are an interesting one because I mean, they may have found something with their quarterback. Nothing like too permanent, but they play hard for the kid, and he's playing. I don't even know if he's playing for his career. He's playing for his boyhood dreams. The guy is playing like a quarterback who kind of knows that this is maybe a one-and-done situation.
What are you talking about, the DeVito kid?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
no, you're absolutely right. No, I mean,
he's got something there in terms of he's just out there playing football like if you and I went to sleep and woke up and our dreams came true. This guy's dream has come true. He's an NFL quarterback for his hometown team.
He is.
The guy lives with his parents. So I do think against a suspect Philadelphia defense at home, he might be able to catch a little lightning in a bottle.
Tommy DeVito.
They're going tonight here in 15 minutes.
Yeah. I'm just looking at his numbers. I mean, they're not bad.
No.
You're not bad. You do this, you keep a job. I don't know if he'll ever
a job. You're right.
No, someone will be like,
sure.
That can be our backup. If you look at his numbers right now, 63% completion percentage. His QBR is 92.4, 7 touchdowns, 3 picks. Yeah. If you could get a backup to come in for a long period of time and throw more TDs than picks, you take that all day.
Of course.
Take that all day long. So, yeah, he can keep working in the NFL.
Yeah, so I'm not rubber stamping Philly over the Giants twice. I mean, the Giants they could surprise Green Bay tonight. And although Jordan Love's been playing fantastic,
he has.
The NFC North might actually get 3 teams in the playoffs, which is crazy to think about.
I mean,
inexplicably, right?
I don't think that they won't get 3. They won't get 3 because
some of those teams got to play each other, I'm sure.
Well, no, yeah, I guess they could. You're right, they could. If Green Bay wins tonight, yes, the current layout would have 3 of those teams in. The Vikings and Packers would both be wild cards, and Detroit would be your division winner if Green Bay wins tonight. That's where it sits. With the Rams and Seahawks, 6 and 7, the Niners are already dormy in the NFC West.
They win the division. They make the playoffs tonight with a Green Bay loss.
Correct.
They clinch.
But they've already got the West unless, they've already got.
Well, if the Rams win out and the Niners lose out, then they would lose the West.
Correct.
But they earn a playoff.
That's not going to happen.
Yes, they earn a playoff berth with a Green Bay loss tonight.
Yeah.
But in terms of, the 1 seed and what you were saying about the Niners, I think you're right on the money. If you want to take your top 8 or your top 10 players and think about yesterday, Mooney Ward was hurt and it didn't even matter. Your number 1 cover corner.
Lenore came in and shut down DK also.
Right.
They're completely in his
And
head.
Ward may be out for a while. Doc Pandia tomorrow, we can get his insight in terms of the groin and what that might mean. But if he's out until the playoffs, and you saw who the Niners brought in on the practice squad, right? Jason Verrett.
Yes.
He's back.
Yes, he is.
So they're trying to get him up in time for the playoffs.
I don't know what the Ward situation is, and you hope certainly would love to have him 2 weeks from tonight. You'd certainly love to have him.
Yeah.
Although Baltimore, while I think the world of Lamar Jackson, it's a little bit different in terms of what the cornerbacks are asked to do. I think when you're going against Baltimore, but their receivers are trending up. This kid Zay Flowers is really good. Odell Beckham looks like he's having a little bit of a resurgence. That's going to be a hell of a fun game. But, yeah, I hope Charvarius is back for that game. But outside of that, the point I'm bringing up is you look at who the 49ers are going to face as far as quarterbacks the rest of the way. Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson, Howell, and then Stafford. Doesn't terrify you that much in terms of standard drop back, throw for 300 yards type guys. And I just feel like the confidence in the 49ers secondary is as high as it's been in a long time. You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM and HD1 San Francisco, always live on the free Odyssey app, Twitch, and YouTube. The idea of Mooney Ward being out would have terrified us 5 weeks ago. But Lenore, even Ambry Thomas are starting to look like very, very viable players out there in the defensive backfield. And when you combine them with the pressure that they get on the quarterback, I don't know, man. I don't know. It looks like the best offense in football and the best defense in football all at the same time.
I do have an update from Kyle Shanahan on Mooney Ward. He has already talked today, and he said they got to monitor how this week goes. His status for this week is a maybe. We'll see towards the end of the week. We'll see how it goes.
Okay, I think that's a positive update because as we know, and we always talk about, they know a lot more than we do about what the injury is, and for him to not say that he's going to miss some time and that there's a question already for this week, that's all you want to hear. And I don't want to, you don't want to peacock too much, but I feel like they got a shot to beat the Cardinals without him. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I like their chances. I think the line opened up at 13. Is that what I saw? 13 and a hook.
And a hook, yep.
Yeah,
yep.
So
I'll tell you what it is right now, though.
Yeah,
it probably got bet up already.
I would wonder about that. I mean, I don't think that this is a letdown spot in advance of Baltimore. This team feels letdown spot proof right now.
Still 13.5.
The way they're playing with such great confidence, and you mentioned it, complementary football, the offense and the defense feeding into each other so perfectly, the pass rush making it so the secondary can thrive. Fred Warner, he might have made a little bit of a statement in his DPOY quest yesterday just by getting that interception. Because when it all comes down, things like stats and numbers do matter. And I think it's a long shot case. We can ask Peter King about it tomorrow when he joins us at 3:15. But, if you're on the best defense in football and it feels like the Niners have now earned that mantle, if you're the defensive captain, you're the green dot wearer, and you've got good numbers on the best defense in football, you're going to get some votes.
I agree with you. I was just pulling up while you were talking, and we've got more injury updates. We're going to go live to Champ Grandy here in just a second. But I was pulling up the odds to win NFL DPOY because I sort of feel like it's lacking a definition right now. As you were talking, I'm like, who is the defensive player of the year? Early on in the year, everyone was hot on Myles Garrett.
Oh, yeah.
But it's calmed down a little bit.
So hot.
Cleveland is still very good. I'm looking at it. Who do you think is the favorite to win the award right now?
Well, I just tried to punch up the odds. Well, I looked, and it came up as Rudy Gobert. Feel like
you might have clicked the wrong
no
link.
buzzer? Yeah. I felt like he's plus 200. So
who do you think it is? Who do you think it is?
I think it's Rudy Gobert, Mark. Honestly, I would still probably go with Myles Garrett as the favorite, just because I'm stuck in this NBA loop right now.
He's the second favorite.
Yeah?
He's the second.
Oh, I just
favorite.
saw it here. I just saw it on my odds pop up.
Yeah.
Micah Parsons.
Micah Parsons?
Plus 125? Is that what you're seeing?
That great of a year? No, I'm actually seeing minus 125, to be honest.
I got it at DraftKings here, plus 125.
Yeah.
Then Garrett, then Watt. Then a huge jump to Deron Bland.
Josh Allen of the Jags. Nick Bosa is favored over Fred Warner. Then Danielle Hunter. Then Max Crosby. Then Fred Warner. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 players ahead of Fred Warner in the current odds. So if you do like his chances, I'd put $100 on it, because if he wins, you're going to get $8,000.
You got it at 80-1?
Plus 8,000.
Yeah, to me, that's just ridiculous.
I agree with you, but he's not going to win it.
Right.
He's not even the favorite on his own team.
And I think that
you said this earlier this year. It's become a pass rush award,
and it's become a lot of it is popularity. It's kind of like the Gold Glove in baseball, where you get that reputation, and as long as you have somewhat of a good year, you're going to win it every year. Although now with all the UZR and all the other defensive metrics that we have in Major League Baseball, we certainly look at Gold Glove a little bit differently.
No doubt. I mean, this has been true for a while. I'll never forget Aaron Rodgers joining, like he was mic'd up, and the Packers and Niners had just played. This might have been a couple years ago. And he says to Fred Warner, he goes, everybody knows you're the best linebacker in this league. Everybody in the league knows it. They may not know it on the outside, but they know it on the inside. And, one guy's opinion, although a pretty important guy, and the more you look around at it, I think it's true. And some of the guys are listed as linebackers, but they're pass rushers, like T.J. Watt. He's listed as a linebacker, but he's a pass rusher. Fred Warner is the top true linebacker on the board. The rest of these guys are all pass rushers. So I don't even know. It's kind of like Fred Warner winning DPOY kind of got a little bit of a Tyreek Hill winning MVP feel to it. It's like, are you even allowed to do that out of that position anymore?
Exactly.
I don't know.
It seems ridiculous, but, when you look at the way I would look at it is you look at the best defense in football, which is the Niners, and then you look at their best defensive player, and I guess you could debate if it's Nick Bosa or Fred Warner. I would say Fred Warner, because I've seen every snap of every game, and you could see the consistent impact he's had on the Niners defense week in and week out. Nick Bosa has been really good. And, you look up and you realize, geez, all of a sudden now, even statistically, he's having himself quite a good year.
Yeah. No, he's been amazing. And this whole thing, just is starting to feel different. Very mindful that every couple of weeks, every 3-4 weeks, things suddenly feel different in the NFL. Look at how you feel about the Eagles right now. How you feel about the Eagles today, Monday, December 11th, versus how you felt about them when you woke up Sunday morning, December 3rd. Your perception change in those 8 days of the Philadelphia Eagles is what?
It's dramatic. It's,
totally.
It's kind of what you were saying going into the game, and I give you your flowers, even though you don't want them.
Thank you.
You deserve your flowers. And I actually was thinking about this over the weekend. We need to come up with like a bit where, it's time to give out some flowers.
Give out
the flowers. And you deserve a nice big bouquet because you said it before the Niner game. Not only that the Niners were the best team and that they would handle the Eagles, but that the Eagles, 9 days in advance, you said the Eagles were going to lose to the Cowboys, and they got crushed by the Cowboys. I know the score indicates that it was closer than it actually was. That game wasn't very close at all last night. Dallas handled them. And so, to your question and your point, I feel a lot different about Philadelphia now than I did 2 weeks ago.
So, maybe we feel that way about the 49ers in 2 weeks. I really, really doubt it, but who knows? Who knows what's going to happen in these next 4 games? But I tell you what, they've had 2 different runs now, 2 different 5-game win streaks. Both times at the end of them, you feel like it is a pretty firm answer that it's the best team in football. I know there's other 10-3 football teams out there, but Vegas will tell you, people in the league will tell you, not all 10-3 football teams are built the same. This is the best team. If you care about analytics, and Grandy, was it you that tweeted this yesterday, that the 49ers by DVOA are the best 10-3 football team in the history of the NFL?
Yes, I can get the exact numbers here for you in a sec.
And DVOA, for you might be like, like whatever. You don't care about that. But I think we do care about these numbers sometimes, even if we don't know how they're measured. Quarterback rating, we follow that around, even though none of us could tell you exactly how it's measured.
Right.
DVOA, in sort of simplistic terms, is a way of measuring the overall productivity of your football team on both sides of the ball. The 49ers this year are tracking amongst the top 10 football teams of all time in terms of DVOA.
In terms of teams who are 10-3 or in terms of all teams?
All teams. In terms of 10-3, they're the best of all time.
Gotcha. And really, if their kicker makes a kick, you're 11-2.
Mm-hmm.
And so, the 10-3 would look a little bit better, but that's just football, and that's the way that comes down. Hard to believe that they went 5 wins, 3 losses, 5 wins. You hope that the pattern does not continue to repeat.
Exactly. Doubt it. Doubt it.
Arizona, Baltimore, and who's the third game? Is that Washington?
Washington, yeah.
Oh, yeah, and then it's the Rams to end it.
Yeah, I to me, that test was actually this one. This game mirrored the Cleveland game in that massive national emotional win in blowout fashion with 42 points. And then the follow-up, while everyone tells you for 7 days, oh, you're special. You're the big bad boys on the block. You're the best thing ever. You're definitely the favorite to win the Super Bowl. I think that got them last time. I don't think it was the reason. It was a reason. And you remember that post-game speech when they beat Jacksonville, when Fred Warner said to the team, we learned our lesson. We learned our lesson, what happened last time. And I believe that he was referring to them relaxing a little bit or getting a little bit too patting on the back-ish, if you will, after their game against Dallas. And it got them. And they had a hard time getting it back. But they did. And now they're back. And I was like, if they learned their lesson, they will come out and beat Seattle by double digits as well.
Yeah.
And they did.
Was the spread 12? Is that where it wound up?
I think it went off, actually, at about 13.5.
Okay.
Because of the Drew Lock announcement.
That's right.
I jumped, and I told you this on Friday. The second I saw the spread start to move a little bit and what Carroll said.
What did you get it at?
I got it at 11.
Okay.
I got it at 11.
Just in time.
Well, as soon as they elevated Sean Mannion from the practice squad, I go, he not playing. So
Yeah.
jump on it, and it kept going and going and going and got all the way up to 13.5. So if you got it late, you lost.
Yeah.
If you got it early, you won.
Crazy how that works,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
They're so good at that.
Yeah.
One thing about the Niners skid, they did face Cleveland. Cleveland coming off a bye on the road at Cleveland. So that's why I thought, like yesterday, the byes were done for Seattle and the Niners. That was just a divisional game. They weren't going to have the same letdown. If it was, Cleveland was fresh, hungry, rested, and ready at home against the Niners, who were coming off a little bit of an emotional low after that win over Dallas. So that was a more difficult spot in terms of the schedule. And the Niners, as I mentioned before, the worst rest differential in football this year, minus 20 days.
Right.
But all that now goes away. And it hit me over the weekend, and it's something we can mention to Peter King tomorrow because he had it in his column last week. But it's sad, Mark. We're down to 64 after tonight.
Oh, don't.
64 regular season football games left.
I hate it.
Because last week, Peter's like, yeah, we're down to 80. And I was like, dude, 5 times 16.
Dude.
Because the bye, once you get through all the byes, and tonight's the end of week 14, and you got 4 more weeks.
Wow.
Full slates. 4 weeks. Slates. 4 more weeks of full slates. And then we're done, Coach.
Wow. Rest in peace to Gabe Kapler's Giants career. But, there's a piece of it that goes away tonight.
We have 66 more games, Coach.
For those of you who watch football, not just like as 49er fans, but if you watch football through the prism of your fantasy team, everything changes after tonight. Everything changes after tonight.
Well, it's over for me after tonight.
Well, that's my point.
Team banquet.
For some of you, it's over. For those of you who it's not over, you go into each of your weekends knowing that might be the last one. And that changes the whole look of the whole thing. There's only 2 things on the calendar that fly. And it's the final few days before Christmas when someone tells you still have 18 things to buy and you've got 2 days to do it.
I got to shop for you now?
No, don't. No,
You got me something.
I know, because it's an impulse buy. I saw something and I'm like, oh my God. I was not shopping for you.
Yeah.
I was shopping for the kids. But I saw something and I'm like,
isn't that great? Me, a 55-year-old partner and your 9-year-old.
I got you a Hot Wheels.
I hope I got a Nerf hoop.
Oh, no, you're going to love it because I looked at it, and by the way, it's just a stupid thing. I want to lower expectations here,
good.
but I saw it, and I was just like, oh, I got to get that. That's unbelievable.
Okay.
I can't believe I'm looking at this. This is my guy. So I got it. So I'll wrap it and make a big deal out of it, and it's not a big deal. So don't do anything because I do not want to create more stress for anyone this time of year.
Dude, I'm already, and I told you this off the air, we got 2 weeks left, and I'm already white knuckling because I got nothing, Coach.
Dude, and it's a lot. It's a lot. You know what I mean? Like
I'm a newlywed too. It's not like like the old marriage when I could just mail it in after a couple of decades.
I feel blessed. I know people listening to us right now. I mean, I want to speak to this because I don't want to sound privileged. Like I don't need to be at work until 1 o'clock. So I would drop those kids off, and it's like boom, I'm going, man. Like I'm like, come on, Malls. You don't need to be waiting until 10. Open. Let's go.
Geez.
I'm ready at 8 in the morning. Let's get this stuff done.
Yeah.
But outside of that, man, there's not a lot of time left. And you don't have to be at work till 1, but you got a baby for crying out loud.
Baby, bro.
So
I'm gonna tote that baby to like
please,
Crate and Barrel or
no. I'll be mad at you if you go buy me something.
All right,
don't.
If I come across something, I'll do the same. But
don't.
Okay, good.
Just flat out don't. Speaking of
have a beer.
Speaking of alleviating stress, let's take some calls on this right now. I think it'd be fun to throw this out to 49er fans because we're sitting here saying we're trying not to peacock, but I know what it sounds like. We're peacocking, right? The Niners are going to the Super Bowl. They're the best team. Wah, wah. What are you going to do about it if you're not a Niner fan? What if we asked it this way? And Dibs, I wonder how you'd answer this. 888-957-9570. What are you worried about with regard to the Niners? What still worries you?
Well, can we take injury off the table? Or can we?
No.
Because that would be the number one Family Feud answer for me on the board.
For sure. I agree with you.
And it's an easy one. It's easy in terms of worry.
Anything else?
What worries me? Geez. I'm thinking about teams, and I look around the NFC, and none of those teams really worry me. I don't like Detroit. Detroit's kind of come crashing back to earth, I think, in many ways.
I got one big one, but I'm gonna save it.
Dallas doesn't.
This cow. Go ahead.
Dallas doesn't worry me. It was a great game last year in the playoffs. This year was one-sided. Mm-hmm. A trip to Philadelphia feels like it's going to be off the table if you handle business, so that doesn't worry me. Mm-hmm. No other team would worry me. Lamar Jackson in Baltimore worries me, but you're going to get a chance to see them before it actually would come to fruition in a possible Super Bowl. So nothing worries me, Mark, other than Kyle Shanahan turtling up again in the big game.
Come on.
And his clock management yesterday. Can we spend 30 seconds?
Go for it. I'd love to do that. Yeah.
Kyle, it's okay to use your timeouts on defense.
That was
dog.
Weird. That was weird.
Get the ball back. I know you're going to start the third quarter with the rock. Seattle is.
No, they weren't. No, Seattle started the third quarter.
You're right.
Seattle got the ball.
Stuff them. Yes. Make them punt.
No, that was strange.
And get the ball back.
Or just make them punt. Just make them punt. Maybe mishandle it. Maybe a bad snap.
Bad snap.
Try to go block it.
Who knows?
Do something.
Do something.
That was strange. Oh, okay. Here, Kyle Shanahan addressed that. Here it is.
No, we went back and forth on it, and then I ended up not liking my decision. It's kind of right in between there. I had enough timeouts. We said no, then we said yes, and then I was confused because when they did take the 10 seconds off and it was after an incomplete completion, I couldn't figure out why they were running it again. None of us knew, so it was just an unusual rule. So I just talked to the ref, and he said it is a weird rule, but that's how they do it. Even if it's a dead ball, if you take a 10-second runoff, they can still start the clock. And once that started happening, and we were surprised by it, then we just let it go in at half.
Okay, I like
Steve Kerr in his game.
Well, right but there. I like that Kyle was like, wrong call. I always accept that. Do you accept that?
No, I don't.
You don't.
Well, because he had a chance to talk to him about the 10-second runoff. And
I'm just saying I'd rather the coach come out when you do mess up, evaluate it, and then admit it.
That's fine. That's fine. You love those 3 words in the English language.
I do.
I was wrong.
It's okay.
You're damn right you were, Kyle. Yeah. They won the game, so it's not a big deal.
But how much would you be, Mr. Snooty Shanahan, if he had come out and been like, no. Not using a timeout there, and if you think I should have, you don't know football. Oh my God, our whole day would be different.
More offensive, yeah.
Say look, we went over it, and we decided not to, and I wish we had. I can accept that.
I can accept it, but the follow-up question is, Kyle, are you now closer to appointing somebody to help you with these situations that seem to be your bugaboo? Loaded question.
Totally. I don't even know that I agree with you that it's a bugaboo. I know that people, it's a Super Bowl before halftime. Okay, give me a third one.
I don't need a third one.
Yeah, you do. If you're going to call it a bugaboo.
You asked me what I'm worried about.
That's fine.
And it's a little bit of a reach to say that that's what I'm worried about, but it sticks out again from yesterday.
That's fair.
And again, it didn't matter. You were in control of the game. You won the game. You commanded the game. You never were in a spot where that felt like it was going to come back to haunt you. But those are the situations where I want him to be more aggressive.
And that's fair. By the way, the question is, what are you worried about? So there's no wrong answer. I mean, you can say, I don't know if we're all going to be alive in January.
Yeah, boy.
No, okay. That's your worry. I got one.
Talk to me.
And it's not injuries. Do you know that the last time Jake Moody even tried a field goal, it was on Thanksgiving night?
That's a long time ago.
They haven't even attempted one since then. This team is so effective right now on offense and is so good in the red zone, they haven't even attempted a field goal since Thanksgiving. It's December 11th. So I still sit here thinking one of these days they're going to need him to make a big kick. And look, they're all big. I understand that. But the ghost of Cleveland is still with me. You know, he had one chance, Eminem, to go out there and not miss your chance to blow. And then he blew it. So that's still sort of in the back of my mind. I am almost arrogant enough as a fan to believe that the Niners may go through the rest of the season not needing to make some sort of a kick at the buzzer to beat somebody. Maybe that's how it'll go, but I don't know. And they may need one. And I still feel like in those situations, if that guy walks out onto the field in the fourth quarter of a 23-23 ball game, or even worse, 23-21, and you absolutely need him to make it, I think all of our knees are going to be knocking together.
For sure. He's a rookie kicker, and it's always going to be a dicey proposition when any kicker goes out there. And you saw Koo yesterday miss a couple of kicks, and they ended up losing that game, including one that rattled off of the upright. Moody this year marked 27th in the league in field goal attempts. He's only attempted 20 kicks.
Yeah, they don't need him to.
Right.
I mean,
they don't need him to until they need him to.
Until they need him to.
And that's, and so far they've only needed him to once, and he missed it.
Think about their
other than that, it's been blowout city.
Think of their games. 28 yesterday, 42, 42. They get 40. These are all divisible by 7.
Yeah.
They don't need him. But wouldn't you love, again, this is a weird question because no, I don't want a game to come down to a field goal, but there's a piece of me that would love some sort of a pressure kick, even if it's just before halftime. Let's say the Niners are, you know what I mean? It's second quarter and the Niners are up 14-10 against Baltimore 2 weeks from tonight. But just have the 2-minute drill and get down there and you got a 45-yarder at the buzzer. If you miss, it's not like everything's going to fall apart, but I'd love to see Jake Moody do that. Get out on the field. There's 2 seconds on the clock. Line it up. Kick that thing. Have some success. You want him to get some positive memories in his brain about those moments.
Yeah. 47 for 47 on PATs. So you can feel good about that.
That's something.
He's been out there kicking PATs and he hasn't missed one.
That's something. That's something. So,
it's not the same as a 43-yard field goal to win at Cleveland in the wet and in the wind.
But outside of that, I've got none.
Outside of the kicker.
I got none.
Well, you asked for callers to call in with their Niner worries, and there don't seem to be a lot of them because the calls.
There's a few.
Yeah.
Yeah. So somebody's worried about something, but maybe.
Always.
I know people who are just wired that way. My mom's not comfortable. She's not worrying about something.
Oh, yeah.
She'll worry about the fact that she's not worried if there are no worries.
Yeah.
She's like, well, when's that feeling going to end? That's scary.
This feeling of contentment?
Exactly. I'm not worried right now, which worries me.
Totally.
Let's go to Gene in Oakland. Sounds like a worrier. Gene, are you a worrier?
I used to be, okay? Then I reached a stage in my life, I decided, what the hell? I'm just going to live for the day. And it works,
I love that. What the hell? That's my new phrase.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
What the hell?
Okay. I mean, I got to my late 70s and I said, God, I'm very old. What am I going to do? And then I said, hey, I'm very old. I can do whatever I want. So anyway, that's
Perfect.
the attitude I take.
Good.
What am I worried about? I think I've already told you guys. Just injuries. That's it. Other than that, I mean, yeah, I'm a little concerned if it comes down to field goals. I don't expect it to come down as field goals. I think we got a team like we had back in '95, the last time we won. And we basically cruised to a Super Bowl, then beat any field goals, as I recall. So correct me if I'm wrong. Certainly not in the Super Bowl, anyway. So that's it. Just injuries. Stay healthy, and we'll waltz to another one.
Thanks, Gene. Appreciate it. And I know that every fan, if you're a fan of an NFL team, statements like that make you uncomfortable. They just do. Oh, we got this. Oh, God. You know what I mean? I felt like they had a great shot to win it last year. And then on one play, it was over. That's on the table.
Of course.
Every single snap. That's
every
on the
team
table.
for everyone. I mean, that's on the table at all times. And, you think about even if you lost any player, you could survive it better this year than you could last year. And you think about Brock Purdy, and I'm not trying to put the hex on him, but you do have Sam Darnold. And we don't know if Sam Darnold can step in and be any good, certainly he won't be as good as Brock Purdy, who might be the MVP, but you would imagine that Sam Darnold will come in and be better than Josh Johnson was when he came in.
Oh, sure. Yeah, the comp this year is not Sam Darnold. The comp this year to last year is that Brandon Allen starts the NFC Championship game, and then he gets knocked out, and somebody that you just grabbed off the street comes into the game. That's essentially what happened last year.
Right. Brock Purdy was in the Brandon Allen spot, and he slowly moved up when Trey Lance got hurt. He became the Sam Darnold. But your point is well taken. And even if Brandon Allen had to come onto the field, you'd feel better than you did with Josh Johnson last year.
No doubt about it.
And that's no disrespect to Josh Johnson, the kid out of Oakland Tech, who I've been defending on this very station for years in terms of what he tried to do last year. But I do think that this team is a little bit more injury-proof than last year's team, although you don't want to see any of it happen.
Absolutely. Let's keep it going. Yeah?
Yeah.
Lucas? Yeah? Okay. Let's go to Jose in Oakland. Hey, Jose, what's going on? You're on with Willard and Dibs.
Not much, guys. A little bit hoarse. I went to the game yesterday. It was a great game.
Good for you, Jose.
The Niners, thank you. I see the Niners trotting into the playoffs like Deion Sanders, just high-stepping it. That's not a problem for me. You know what? If they have enough confidence and they think they're going to get it done, good for them. The one thing that concerns me is, other than Sam Darnold, who else do we have as an emergency QB? I mean, we don't want to get stuck like last year. We lost Purdy, then we ended up with Josh Johnson, and then who else was there?
Well, this year it would be who we were just talking about there, Jose. It would be Brandon Allen. That's your emergency QB.
Really?
Well, but what do you want, Jose? Like this, my answer to you would be this: who in the NFL has got 3 quarterbacks?
Well, yeah, you got a point there, but I mean, you live to learn and you learn to live. I mean, if the Niners didn't learn anything from last year, then it's on them if it does get to that point. Hopefully it won't happen, but you know what? This hopefully thing is last year we didn't expect Brock Purdy to be gone, in the first series, and it did happen.
Yeah, but Jose, what would you have them do about it? Like, in other words, you said if they didn't learn their lesson, what should they have done differently? You want them to use $50 million and sign like three $17 million QBs or something?
No, but I just didn't see enough from Allen to say, to be comfortable enough to say, well, if it gets to that, we'll be okay. The guy is capable enough.
Of course not.
It is what it is.
Yeah, I agree with you. Jose, thanks. I mean, that's something, some of this just is like, do you have the stomach for it? And to me, in the NFL, if you lose 2 QBs, usually, quite frankly, if you lose 1, that's it. You got to deal with it. See you next year.
Depends.
Aaron Rodgers, 4th play. Night-night. Yep. That's the end of your season. Sorry. That's how it works.
Yeah, not always. And yesterday was a great proving ground of teams that are trying to do it now with a backup. And look at Cleveland. Cleveland has started their 4th different quarterback.
Yeah.
They had Deshaun. They had DTR.
They
had PJ Dub. And now they've got Flacco. And they're still in it.
They're 8-5.
I mean, they're 8-5.
Had a great defense, but yeah, they're
correct.
8-5. And Jim Moody missed a kick.
Right.
But anyway.
8-5 with 4 different starting quarterbacks. Yep. And you think about that division, it's no slouch of a division. It's not like you're dealing with Tampa and, Tampa and the NFC South, which that division's been an absolute hilarious mix of New Orleans has started multiple quarterbacks.
He had to do a game or 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look, you can function, but you usually need some wobbly things to go your way. Minnesota lost their quarterback for the year. They're still 7-6.
Yeah.
Indianapolis lost their quarterback for the year. They're still 7-6, although he was only a rookie.
Cincinnati lost their quarterback.
They're
7-6.
7-6. The Rams lost their quarterback for a little while. They're 6-7. They're very, very much in the hunt.
Pittsburgh lost their quarterback. They're 7-6.
They're 7-6, although they just lost their quarterback, and they're 0-1 since it happened, and I have a feeling that will continue if he doesn't get back because that was disgusting. But anyway, you look around the league, and largely the bottom half of the divisions, those are the teams that are struggling with their quarterback.
Yeah.
We're going to give Pittsburgh, Cincy, and Cleveland all the love for losing quarterbacks and still being in it. However, Pittsburgh and Cincy are also tied for last place in their division.
Right.
That division's insane. All 4 teams have a winning record.
Yeah.
But go to the Raiders. Now take a look at the Chargers.
The Giants.
The Giants lost their QB. The Titans.
The Bears had to start Badgett for a couple of games.
Exactly right. Arizona obviously has had a bunch of different quarterbacks starting games, and these are the teams that largely populate last place in their respective divisions.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where, for the most part, when you go to the backup, your season's going to be over. But I do think now, Mark, more than ever, these NFL teams and these NFL rosters are built to have 2 quarterbacks in whatever way you possibly can. And, the better backup, like Browning in Cincinnati is a good example. He's a good quarterback. He was well accomplished in high school. He had a good college career, and he's been a backup in the NFL, and now he's got a chance to shine, and he's a good little quarterback.
No doubt. It's so fun. That phrase gets me this whole Brock Purdy experience. I can't deal with that now. He's a good little quarterback. Oh, gosh, you just patted him on the head. Jake Browning is going to be in an interesting spot if this continues. If this continues, the Bengals are going to have an asset on their hands that they can use if they would like to going forward, because Joe Burrow will come back. They have an unquestioned star quarterback making over $50 million a year, and you'd love to have a great backup. That's true, but usually the capital that can come your way if somebody believes that you've got a quarterback and they really want that person to be their starter, you get massive draft capital for that. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with Browning the rest of the way.
I think the number is 55, Mark. 55 different starting quarterbacks this year in the National Football League. I'm just looking at the list here on Pro Football Reference, and Clayton Tune's got to start. Jaron Hall's got to start.
Clayton Tune, that was disgusting.
Brett Rippon's got to start. Brian Hoyer's got to start. Trubisky's, you mentioned. Tim Boyle 0-2 with the Jets. Heineke 0-2 with Atlanta. The Zapster, he started a couple. It just goes on and on.
Goes on and on. Aiden O'Connell and
Tyrod Taylor's got some starts.
Oh, yeah. The Giants have got 3 different guys they've thrown out there.
Yeah,
absolutely. Suzanne in San Jose next up on Willard and Dibs. Hi, Suzanne.
Hey, fellas. How's it going?
Good, Suzanne.
Going great.
Good. Well, what I'm worried about is complacency. And, I always worry because I've been faithful for 40 years, and I've seen it all. We've been Levi's, season ticket holders since day one. And, you get your heart broken. You get your heart broken watching this sport and this team occasionally. But we're all on a high right now. And yesterday you just kind of felt this vibe of, oh, we're going to kick their ass. Oh, it's going to be, this will be an easier game. And you just can't take anything for granted. To your point about injuries, this game, this season could turn on a dime. And so just trying to stay grateful, trying to stay calm, and hoping that the players and the fans don't get complacent, because that's like the kiss of death. Well, I'm also a little worried about the Ravens, not going to lie.
Okay, well, we're going to get to see that. And the Ravens, I would agree with you right now. If there's any team across the entire league that I would say, I wonder what they look like against the Niners, that would be the team. Yeah, but Suzanne, here's what I would say. As far as the complacency topic, fans can get complacent all we want. And as you've pointed out a couple times today, Dibs, I don't think that's going to affect the 49ers if we're complacent. Did they get complacent after the Dallas game? You could argue it. But I have the utmost confidence that this group is not going to suffer from any complacency.
Not now.
There is an intensity in that building, an obsession with the Super Bowl based on where they've been the last few years. You look at it, the way they've gone about their roster. A group that said, McCaffrey, yes. Chase Young, yes. And then we'd like Zach Ertz, yes. And we're paying everybody. They are totally obsessed with the final prize. And so as we get into December now, I have a hard time believing that this team isn't going to have the volume turned all the way up every time they play.
Yeah, and they're feeling it now, and they're smelling it, and they can taste it, and they understand the importance of getting the 1 seed. And maybe tomorrow we can go through the debate, because many people on social media yesterday talking about, the 2 seed might actually be better. Easier path if you're the 2, or is it better to get the 1 and get that bye? But if you get the 1, you might have to go Dallas and Philly back to back. But if you get the 2, you got a cupcake, and then you might be able to avoid Dallas. Then you get Philly at the end of it. The whole idea about the 1 versus the 2, for me, and I would imagine most of the guys in that locker room, it's the 1.
The 1.
I could care less about who we play. Give me the week off. Let me get my body right. Let me get situated. And if you're that confident and you've already beaten Philly and you've already beaten Dallas, you don't care about playing them again as opposed to getting that additional week.
I agree with you from the beginning, but it's been furthered by this point. I don't know that Philly is any tougher than Detroit right now.
Wow.
I don't even know that would be the first.
Some say they're a better version of last year's Minnesota Vikings.
Some do say that.
Starting to think that maybe that
wacky take is sounding a little less wacky.
Super wacky tobacky.
Not so much anymore, is it?
It's looking better, Mark.
I had a few people reach out to me last night.
I already gave you your flowers, okay?
Well, get another set for tomorrow. Let's go to Mark in Oakland real quick. Hey, Mark, what's going on? You on with Willie and Debbie?
Is this the closer?
That's right. The closer. Well, I don't know if I really got that yet.
Well, I was in need of a closer, so let's see if you can close it.
Well, we're also about to close. Yeah. We're closing out this segment pretty soon. So, Mark, be quick. But don't hurry.
All right, here's 2 things. And I'm not kidding about this first one. MVP candidate, who is the most valuable player? Trent Williams. Look how McCaffrey and Purdy look when he's not on the field, and look how they look when he is. That guy is the most valuable player in the league to me right now. When he's there, they have a shot. Second thing, here's what I think they need to do to win the Super Bowl. They've answered every question except that, and that's how it felt since the beginning of the season. I think they're one of those teams that gets close and gets tight in the big moment. That's just what I think. It's my intuition, my gut, and I think it's partly because of the meticulous, keep everything on schedule, so to speak, nature of Kyle Shanahan. If I were him in these few games remaining, I would loosen up. I would try some improv. I would let Purdy call some plays, because at some point in the playoffs, they're going to get in a game where it's just not going to go the way they want, and I would want them to be ready. And that's their final challenge to me. Can they do that? There will be at least one game where they get totally punched in the mouth. Everything's out of kilter, and it's the playoffs, and it matters a lot more. And so far, the history is they can't get over that hump.
Yeah, Mark, I don't disagree. I just don't know how you mimic that. I know what you mean. It'd be fun to practice that, but I don't think you can. There's no way to accurately go out there and be like, okay, let's do some plays and pretend like we're down by 14 in the third quarter. But I get it. There's no doubt that the 49ers down by 2 scores, that's the bugaboo. That's the thing that we haven't seen yet. We'll get to more calls on this, 888-957-9570. We're sponsored by AC Transit, and it's Willard and Dibbs.
Are you a mechanic with at least 4 years under your belt? AC Transit wants you to join the crew. Help us drive the East Bay. No diesel experience? No problem. Paid training is provided. New mechanics are eligible for a $2,000 bonus. Apply today at AC.
There's a man wide open. It's caught. Kittle, penalty flag. Kittle on the way to the end zone. It's a touchdown, but let's see what the penalty is.
I don't think the penalty's going to matter. I think Julian Love, the safety, came up and knew he was beat. I think this is going to stand.
The result of the play is a touchdown.
Now, back to Willard and Dibs on 95.7 The Game.
Well, I tell you what, there's
Show's
a lot
over.
I can't do this anymore. I can't do this. I hope this is relatable for people. I cannot focus right now. You've got 2 Monday Night Football games.
Oh, get up.
I'm trying to talk to you. Both Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill have both had periods of time on the turf where they do not look very healthy. And Tyreek, at least he's up and he's giving high fives to teammates, but his helmet is off and he's limping off of the field.
He's fine.
Now he's running, but he's mad. Why is he so mad? What's happening? What's happening? Well, the Dolphins fans are very excited.
He's mad because my team, Nostradamus, on which he is a superstar, we're not going to the playoffs, Mark, and he knows it.
You're not, but 2 of my teams are because of him, and we're done if he's out. So come on, Tyreek. Time to be okay.
He's fine.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. But anyway,
I think you nailed it earlier, and I'm so glad you said it because I hadn't thought about it. I do think that the NFL, in all of its devious genius, they realize that tonight is, for most leagues, the last regular season fantasy football night, so they doubled up for all of you fantasy heads to go crazy.
I think that's what's going on.
That's the only explanation.
Thing I can think of.
And I'm kicking myself for not thinking of it.
But you're also watching it in real time, which is that I'm trying to have a conversation with you.
Kind of.
Meantime,
you talk, I look. I talk,
we got 2 football games at the same time.
This is so funny.
We've got players in both of them. The guy I'm competing with to make the playoffs is sitting there staring at me through a window right now and pumping his fist when things don't go well. And I'm very, very distracted. I'm the radio version of the person who's walking through the crosswalk, staring at their phone, walking into somebody else because you're just not paying attention. This is a lot to handle right now, Dibs.
No, I'm with you.
Good Lord.
And I'm not grinding over the playoffs, but I do really want to beat Evan Giddings and end my year with 5 consecutive victories.
Well, you want momentum going into next year.
Of course.
That's what you're looking for.
No doubt. I got A.J. Dillon over there doing big things in Green Bay.
Yeah.
And
by the way, did you do enough this year that you'll be back? Because I know this was a big conversation before the year.
Yeah.
You had a whole, I'm not playing.
Well,
you were very,
the way the league started was...
Get off my fantasy lawn.
The way the league started was highly offensive.
I know.
And it actually might have cost me a friendship. And I'm working through that part of it.
That wasn't going to last anyway.
And hey, it was already on the rocks. But the way I've rationalized it is the amount of money that the entry fee was, it's just a write-off for me. And it would have been nice to be in the money and get money back, but it's good to be a part of the camaraderie of the station. That to me is worth more than the entry fee that I paid. So if it means that I'm a part of the action,
you are.
I'll do it again.
You are.
And I actually enjoyed it more than I thought I would.
You're about that action, boss. And so, yes, you're in. And I appreciate you, Lucas, for one thing, and quite frankly, one thing only. And it is that you are militant about collecting the fees at the beginning of the year. I've always wondered about people who do this because, no, you don't need it right now. You don't. I know what your thinking is. Your thinking is we're going to get to the end of the year, and then it's a pain in the rear to collect, and then there's all these people out there who are like, I need them, right? And it gets annoying. I totally understand that. I get it. But also, no, you don't need it right now. But I appreciate that you do it because that means 3 months ago, we've already paid, and so there's nothing to worry about.
At this point, it's free.
Right. It feels like it's free.
Good call.
So we're either going to win or no damage.
Yeah.
So good job. Because my high school league, boy, they don't collect anything. And the transaction fees and up. And then you're like in the playoffs and then you're out. And the next thing you go, 2 weeks later, you get a spreadsheet. And it's like, you owe this. Pay now. Right out of the holidays. And you're like, dude, I ain't got no dough left. Leave me alone. So thank you for that, Lucas.
Dude,
Appreciate
if there were transaction fees, your boy Mark with a C would have had to pick up a second job. I just looked.
Yeah.
48 moves, and you're 6-7? You may have to fire the GM.
I led the league in the fewest transactions by far. By far. I had 6. Grandy had 48.
48.
What are you doing?
Seriously. I need to make one more to get 49.
Itchy trigger finger.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what you were trying to do? That's kind of fun.
Yeah.
I also got to be honest, of being a commissioner of a work league, it does throw a bit of a wrench into things compared to your high school league. Most of us are in friend leagues as well. The thing about a work league, and specifically a radio league, if we can just peel back the curtain, it's almost the end of the show. We can be honest.
Yeah,
right?
It's almost the end of the year.
How many of the 14 people do you see on a consistent basis in our league? I guess 13 others. Alan doesn't even work here anymore.
Right.
In the league.
I'll be totally honest. There's a couple names in there where I'm like, not sure.
Well, Chris was the American
Ninja
Warrior guy.
I know exactly who that person is.
Chris, I haven't seen Chris in at least one building change, maybe two buildings.
And if it's like someone who is, helping out in the morning show, I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what's going on here at 6 a.m.
Craig will pop up here and there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lubman, you know Lubman.
Well, yes, I know Sam Lubman.
I know, but you see Sam. Well, yeah, as late as you get to work.
Couple times a month. Yeah, exactly.
I usually see. I saw Spadoni on Friday.
So did I.
Yeah.
Yep.
Stop whopping me.
That's
he
right.
fills in here and there. So
exactly.
I'll see Krug.
Stop. This is now the third year in a row. We're great streak here. Third year in a row, we have now finished the league with fewer employees of the 14.
Oh, God.
That could still work there at the end of the season.
That's unsettling.
So Alan is this year's candidate. Congratulations, Alan.
Well, but he left on his own. So
that's a good point.
And as he left, he also left his team. Sizzle, you've lost 6 in a row.
Well, yeah, he stopped.
He hasn't won since he left.
Dude, if I make the playoffs, it's kind of like I'm just like the Warriors were last year, where we need to win 2 games, and we went and played 2 games against 2 teams that are like, we're not playing any of our players. That's essentially what Styles and Larry have done here down the stretch. And
shameful.
Maybe to my benefit, though, Larry's gotten the exact start that he needed. I was an 88%. Now I'm 70. It's all the way down to 70, Grandy.
Really?
Hope you're feeling good.
I'm inching closer.
Yep. It's getting a little realistic up in this piece. Can we go to Alex? Hello, Alex. What are you doing?
How's it going, man? I just got home after a long commute from Palo Alto.
Congratulations.
Say, man, thank you, man. How are you guys doing today?
We're great.
Mark could be better if he could get some fantasy
it'd be
breaks
nice
here.
if Romeo Dobbs would break into the open field, but outside of that, I couldn't give a rip.
Excellent, man. Just wanted to say one of the worries that I have for this team is special teams. That's one of my key things that I've always had on my mind since week 1. I know we have an amazing team, but a rookie kicker, and obviously I don't want to bring back old memories, but Kyle Williams still has an embedded imprint on my head, so I just want to make sure that we maintain a good team, especially the special teams.
Yeah, Alex, I think, I kind of
although you got a punter who can run 20 miles an hour, Alex.
Unbelievable.
Is that one of the greatest plays that actually didn't count in NFL history?
And I guess
he just went rogue.
And upon review, it should have. Bell just slipped. He slipped.
Did they call him for a low block on that?
Yes, and he slipped. So it's like it was a low block, but he slipped.
Yeah.
It didn't, I think intent matters in that particular penalty. If you're going by the letter of the law.
Right.
So if somebody slips, they slip and you trip over them. Sorry. It wasn't a low block. It's just a dude that fell.
If you fall down, it's not a low block.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, that was a bummer. But
that was pretty hilarious.
Outside of that, the Niners special teams, they've been good. We brought up the Moody thing, but they've been good everywhere, man.
Right. And Moody's 17 for 20. It's not like he's had a bad year. He hasn't had that many opportunities. He's been perfect on his PATs. The kick return game has been pretty solid. I'm not too worried. And, that kind of thing, Kyle Williams, yes, he muffed 2 punts in a game and you lost, and that can happen.
Well, and Ray McLeod, when healthy, is the guy back there, and he does have a history of putting the rock on the ground. So, yeah, big-time special teams mistakes can change football games. So that's a fair worry. That's absolutely a fair worry. What are you pumping your fist about in there? What, 'cause Miami
the
punted?
Dolphins could have kicked like a 59-yard
Nah,
field
not
goal.
gonna do that.
But they punted.
What do you think they are? What do you think they are? Dallas? Not gonna be out there kicking 60-yarders. Relax, Grandy.
Tyreek Hill officially questionable to return with an ankle.
You got this, Grandy. Don't worry. You have it for sure. It's a Monster Monday brought to you by First 5 California. Learn 4 things you can do to overcome toxic stress. Go to first5california.com. Do you want to do it again tomorrow?
Yeah, big show tomorrow.
Yeah. Do you want to talk to Peter King tomorrow?
I do, yeah.
I want to talk to Peter King tomorrow as well.
And the doc.
And the doc. Is that what you were referring to as far as big show?
Well, just to have Peter and the doc,
Yeah,
and plus
yeah.
whatever else Lucas books.
Well,
I'm sorry.
are you
kidding me?
And don't forget the breaking Giants news tomorrow.
You people are full of crap.
Is it the Rule 5 draft already?
No. It's going to happen tomorrow.
Stop it.
I don't know what it is, but something's going to happen tomorrow. Tell you what's going to happen next. It's Grandy, everybody. Remember, be nice to him. He's very, very stressed. It's going to be brought to you by Fremont Bank, full-service banking, no compromises. It's a full hour of the best of the game, and he's going to kick things off with the opening statements after the big Victory Monday win by the Morning Roast. So that's what's coming up next. Thank you for all of your interaction and your ears throughout the afternoon. For Dibs, for Grandy, for Lucas, I'm Mark. Shoot your shot, especially if you're a kicker in the Dolphins-Titans game. That's all you got.
Considering a home remodel or designing a new one? You'll want to choose new ways to help your family feel healthier and happier. Many architects and builders who team up with Golden State Window and Door Design are experienced in working with their vendors, including Marvin for energy efficiency. Take a look at the Windows and Doors page at goldenstatelumber.com for ideas. Then schedule an appointment with your designer. Since 1954, Golden State. When you succeed, we succeed.
'Twas almost the holidays, and all over the state, not a creature was stirring, except for, well, Nate. He was panicked, in need of a really good gift. Nate's a procrastinator, if you catch my drift. So off he dashed to the closest store, and there found holiday scratchers galore. Now Nate won't get a lump of coal, unless he burns the holiday casserole. Yes, scratchers from the California Lottery are great, especially for Mr. Procrastinate. So when it's time to get your gift shopping out of the way, try scratchers. A little play can make your day. Please play responsibly. Must be 18 years or older to purchase player claim.
Hey, I came as fast as I could. What's wrong?
Everything's okay. I just need you to know I'm glowing up.
You just texted SOS Get Here Now.
And I stand by that because I switched to Cricket and got the all-new Motorola Razr. I have entered my flip era, and I am glowing up.
I'm gonna go back home.
I support that.
Switch to Cricket and get the all-new Motorola Razr for $199.99. Smile, you're on Cricket.
Must open a new line on a $60 a month voice plan. First month service charge and tax due at sale. Fees, terms, and restrictions apply. See cricketwireless.com for details.
Save big every day during Lowe's 25 Days of Deals. Save $100 on select Masterbuilt smokers for the grill enthusiast in your life. Plus, get up to 55% off select smart home gifts for everyone on your list. Order eligible in-stock items by 2 p.m. to get same-day delivery. Lowe's knows deals every day. Valid through 12/13 while supplies last. Selection varies by location. Delivered by 8 p.m. Subject to driver availability. Fees vary based on purchase. Additional terms apply. See Lowe's.com/same-day delivery for details.
My little brother's friends have been camped out at our place for 2 days straight. 3. It's because of the Xfinity 10G network. Internet that can handle a house full of screens at once, with basically no interruptions. And it's only getting faster. When I was their age, internet like this was a pipe dream.
You sound like my grandpa.
Please go home.
The next generation 10G network only from Xfinity. The future starts now. Now through December 21st, new customers can get 1.2 gigabit internet on the Xfinity 10G network for just $25 a month for 2 years with no annual contract and Wi-Fi equipment included when you add Xfinity Mobile with unlimited data at regular rates. Go to Xfinity.com/10G, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Requires paperless bill and auto-pay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Taxes and fees extra. Xfinity Mobile requires Xfinity Internet. After promo, regular rates apply to internet service and Wi-Fi equipment. Actual speeds vary.
Cover California is a free service from the state that's already helped millions of people like you get and pay for health insurance. With financial help to lower the cost of health coverage, you could get a quality health plan for less than $10 a month. Every plan covers preventive care, doctor visits, emergency care, and more. If you have questions, we're here to help every step of the way. Cover California, this way to health insurance. Enroll by December 31st at coveredca.com.
Since first opening its doors in 1964, Fremont Bank has approached banking with a simple idea in mind. Growth comes one customer at a time. You see, while some institutions might be on the lookout for the next big thing, we like to think that's what you'll be. And when you achieve great things, it leads to success throughout the community. It also allows us to continue our tradition of giving back to the region. It's a strategy that's proven successful for nearly 60 years, and we expect to continue success for years to come. Fremont Bank, putting the community in community banking.
At Shane Company, we believe everybody deserves to shine bright. This holiday, give fine jewelry made with the greatest care, a special gift to symbolize your love. 'Tis the season to shine. Shane Company, fine jewelry since 1929.
The Goodman Eye Center is the proud sponsor of Eye on the Stats. Make sure you don't miss a single moment of the action with 20/20 vision from Goodman Eye Center. If you need wavefront LASIK, lens implants, or cataract surgery, Dr. Goodman of the Goodman Eye Center is the choice of champions. So, if you'd like to watch the game with crystal clear vision without glasses or contacts, visit GoodmanEyeCenter.com for a free consultation. That's GoodmanEyeCenter.com.
This is the lunch rush at your local deli. Orders are flying in. Online, on the phone, and in person.
Order for Nick.
So is it possible that fast internet could help your business outrun the rush? It is with Comcast Business. Up-leveling your speed with gig speed Wi-Fi, powering all your devices, and fast downloads and uploads, powered by the next generation 10G network. With Comcast Business, next level speed isn't just possible, it's happening. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Get started with fast speeds and advanced security for $59.99 a month for 12 months with a 2-year agreement. Plus, ask how to get up to an $800 prepaid card with a qualifying internet package. Call or go online to learn more. Ends 12/20/2023. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and automatic payments. New 50 megabits per second internet and security edge customers only. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. Gig Wi-Fi requires gig internet and compatible router.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMC FM at HD1 San Francisco. Always live on the free Odyssey app. Welcome to the best of the game. We're highlighting the best interviews, topics, and sounds of the day. Hey, everybody. On 95.7 The Game.
Happy Monday. Welcome to Best of the Game here on 95.7 The Game. Mark Randy with you until 7 o'clock, and we've got a lot to get to, of course, on this Victory Monday after the 49ers have won their 5th consecutive game yesterday, knocking off the Seattle Seahawks at home. 28-16 was the final score. Brock Purdy threw for a career-high 368 yards. The offense had touchdowns of 54 yards, also 44 yards. Brandon Ayuk caught a 45-yard pass. This team just explosive play after explosive play yesterday, and they use that offensive output to, again, earn a 28-16 win over the Seattle Seahawks. Pair that with a Cowboys win over the Dallas Cowboys last night, and now the 49ers, as it stands right now, are currently the number 1 seed in the NFC. So yesterday was just a great day for the San Francisco 49ers, and we're going to react to it all hour long here on Best of the Game on 95.7 The Game. We will begin by turning the clock back to the Morning Roast with Bonte and Shasky. The guys were talking specifically about this 49ers offense. As I was talking about earlier, the explosive play ability of this offense, led by Brock Purdy, the quarterback, also Christian McCaffrey, of course, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle, the list goes on. But safe to say that both Bonte and Shasky very impressed by this 49ers offense. And for a very long time, the Niners have been a team led by their defense. But lately, the offense has been kind of catching up to the defense. That was the conversation earlier today, and it's how we kick off Best of the Game here on 95.7 The Game. Here's Bonte and Shasky on the Morning Roast.
Division games aren't pretty. Division games are different. With that said, you have an offense, and I was looking this up last night because I think we do have something special here.
I'm saying.
Brock Purdy's playing the best football. There's not 2 guys on the planet playing better football than Brock Purdy. Not 2 guys on the planet
Running back, wide receiver, we'll see Tyreek tonight. There's not two players playing better football than Brock Purdy on the planet right now.
I think it's Dak and Purdy in terms of best quarterbacks this year.
And even I lean Brock because of the head-to-head matchup. I lean head-to-head.
Which is fair.
And I'm looking at the consistency.
I'm just trying to give Dak some love.
No, Dak deserves love.
I do believe Dak right now is having a special season.
No, he is. He is. And we may see him down the line.
And thank you, Dak, yesterday.
Thanks, Dak, yesterday. They rolled the Eagles. Something's not right with the Eagles. Maybe they're gas. I don't know. But something's not right with them. They don't look good. But Brock Purdy is playing better football. I think he's played as well as any 49er quarterback since 1994. And he may be having a better season than Steve Young in 94. We'll get to the data in a second. Debo and Ayuk. You got one of the best duels in 49ers history, at least in the last 40 years. These two guys are special. Debo has an outside chance at having over 1,000 yards receiving.
No, I think he's going to get it.
He might get it, Shasky.
He's at almost 800. You got Kittle over 800. They've got 4 more games.
And they're going bird hunting. They're 3-0 bird hunting right
Even
now.
if I go off of 16 games, because to me, like, the dilution of the numbers and everything off 17 games, that extra game does matter, right?
It does matter.
For like all time, go off 16 games. Right now, Purdy's on pace to break Garcia's record for passing, to have the most touchdowns in Niner history. And it looks like, to me, they're on pace to have 3,000-yard receivers.
Yeah,
That's
it might happen. It might happen.
A 1,500-yard runner.
Yeah, you may get a guy who may go for 2,000-yard all-purpose yards at Christian McCaffrey.
Crazy.
It's fun. It's funny. You settle into the TV because I gave the tickets to Ed and her friend and Baby Chaz, so I'm settling into the TV, getting rid of the multi-view. And I missed the first play because I'm trying to figure everything out on YouTube. So I go to Hulu, right? I jump over to Hulu and said, what happened? Why the hell is the crowd going crazy? I rewinded back into that man, Christian McCaffrey, on the first play of the game.
His ability to slow step, stutter, and then explode through a hole at full speed, it's unmatched.
It's unmatched. The speed that Debo has when he gets the ball in his hands. The speed that Kittle has when he gets the ball in his hands. Third, Ayuk. Ayuk makes any play.
You know what I noticed yesterday that you brought up about Ayuk? His downfield blocking is so underrated.
First play of the game.
He just unbelievable job at sealing off guys that are bigger than him, safeties and sometimes linebackers. And then how about his ability to sprint downfield to get in front of someone? I actually thought Witherspoon made a hell of a play to even stop it from being a touchdown.
I love Christian McCaffrey getting up and pointing at Ayuk. It's like, that's you, dog.
Yes.
That's you. This play doesn't happen unless you're not blocking downfield. You get the line play. You get Fred Warner playing all around. This feels special. Brock Purdy, but it all starts with him. Shasky, he's throwing in stride, pinpoint spirals. And I'm thinking, what about the way he just resets his feet when he evades the rush out of the pocket? He evades the rush out of his pocket, and he's not quick to just run and try to get 5 yards. He's not going to, just deke and dunk it. He's keeping his eyes downfield while resetting his feet outside of the pocket and making sure that he's throwing accurately and on time. This guy throws a catchable football. I don't know if it's the most powerful football that's thrown in the NFL, Josh Allen and Justin Herbert and all these guys, but just in terms of hitting his receivers in stride, giving them the ability to get that yak, which the Niners lead in, that yak, yards after catch. We're not talking Hennessy here, folks. When he throws it on time, with spirals, with accuracy, I mean, there's not a player playing better than this guy right now. And I think he's having a better year than Steve Young did in 1994. I swear, because I think the competition has been stiffer for this version of the 49ers than it was back in 94. I'm not taking anything away from 94. That's a Super Bowl team, one of the greatest teams of all time. But strength of schedule that year, the Niners beat up on a lot of bad teams. They did what they had to do. There was a one game that year. It was Dallas. You beat Dallas to get home field advantage. This year you had the gauntlet on both ends of the schedule, Shasky.
I mean,
think about that.
I'm trying to soak in what you're saying right now because Steve won the MVP that year, and when you bring his name up, people are triggered.
Yeah,
when you bring up Joe Montana, people are triggered. But Bonte, they had 12 explosive plays yesterday. By the definition of the NFL. Like, they were unbelievable yesterday. And if you give this guy an opportunity to hit someone over the top, he doesn't miss. He's 64% completion on throws over 20 yards.
This is incredible. 64.
He's 6 points higher than anyone else in the league.
I mean, listen to this offense yesterday, Shasky, because we're going to get to the lines. 888-957-9570. What Niners did what they had to do. After a big game against Philadelphia, they wake up against Seattle, and there was no letdown whatsoever. They go out and win and cover the spread. But this offense yesterday, Shasky,
give it to me,
averaged 9.9 yards per play yesterday. That marks the highest average yards per play in a single game since they had 9.9 against the Bills back in 2012, and they beat the Bills 45-3. 2012. 9.9 yards a play. They registered 527 total yards. So they did whatever they wanted to do. Sure, was there some hairy moments? Absolutely. Was there some stutters along the way? Absolutely. But they won that game going away. You saw all the explosives off this play. So it's Purdy spreading the ball around. It's Ayuk doing this thing, going over 1,000 for the second consecutive season. There's Deebo Samuel, who has 5 touchdowns in 2 games. There's George Kittle. Hey, remember me at tight end? And then you got Christian McCaffrey. There's an embarrassment of riches, and we need to soak this in because this offense is not slowing down whatsoever in the month of December.
There's an extra game. So, again, it's going to dilute some of the numbers. This has a chance to be the most prolific offense in 49er history. By the numbers, the data, the 2 best offenses in 49er history, 98-93, 6,800 yards, 61 touchdowns.
Wow.
And they're on pace to tie that in terms of touchdowns right now, 61 touchdowns, and to get close to 7,000 yards, all purpose. They're going to get the most first downs they've ever had. They're going to have the most explosive plays, and they're going to average the most points they've ever had. Like that's what you're looking at right now. Now, again, they get an extra game, so it's going to dilute it just a little, but you're looking at one of the most explosive Niner offenses of all time.
I believe it.
With a guy in his first full season. That's the thing I'm having a hard time wrapping myself around. Steve Young was in his 30s when he put together that MVP season. Now, he was a quote-unquote newer starter, but he was seasoned. He had been there for multiple years. He had the trials and tribulations of losing in the playoffs. Brock Purdy has played 1 full season. I mean, outside of Buster Posey's first full season as a big leaguer, is there any player you could think of who hit the ground running, even Bosa's rookie year, doesn't come close to this?
I was going to say Bosa. But this is the quarterback.
That's what I'm saying.
This is the quarterback. When he's touching the ball every single play. Now, Steph's rookie year was marred by some injuries. He had a late push. A lot of people don't remember his rookie year. The Buster Posey comparison this time around, when it comes to rookie seasons, the biggest impact. Buster had the 3-month stretch. It's Brock Purdy,
right?
By a long shot. I swear to God, Shasky, I'm watching this game, and I'm thinking to myself in the third quarter, and I'm in awe of some of the passes he's making yesterday, just on time, in rhythm. The play to Deebo Samuel. Greg Olson's on the broadcast. I don't know if you watched the broadcast version back in, but Greg Olson's on the broadcast, and look at Deebo's just kind of out there jogging. Purdy puts it out there, and did you see his second gear speed? And Purdy just knew. I'm sitting there watching. I can't believe I'm about to say this. I said, I think we're watching a future statue guy in Brock Purdy. It feels like we're watching a future statue guy.
You're ready to say that? Wow.
No, I don't know why I'm ready to.
No.
It's his first full season. And I'm saying, how is he going to regress in this offense with these weapons? He's not.
Well,
he's not. He left some stuff on the table yesterday, and he still threw for over 300 yards. He still had the touchdown passes. And I'm thinking to myself, I might be watching a future statue guy.
I mean, Bonte, when you're I sit in the end zone like you sit in the end zone, and you're watching it, and I'll say, got him. That means he's got a guy with a step or two, right? When I say got him, he always gets him. He always hits that guy. Like yesterday, the George Kittle play, you could see it developing, and I was like, he's got him. And before I could even say it, he's already ripping it. And it's slowly layered over the linebackers, over the safety. On the play with Brandon Ayuk. Brandon Ayuk's coming across. There was a check down. He didn't want the check down.
He doesn't want him.
He allowed Ayuk to get open a little more and then threw the ball just in front of Brandon Ayuk to where the safety couldn't even make a play on it. I don't think people realize rolling to your left, resetting your feet, and throwing that ball on the throw the way he did on the line, the way he did with Ayuk moving, the degree of difficulty is through the roof.
Now, the benefit of being at home is you can replay that play over and over and over. And I just wanted to see how Brock Purdy reset his feet.
It's beautiful. It was like a shortstop.
Right, it was like a shortstop. He rolled out. He's looking downfield. Oh, I have time. I have patience. There's a calmness to him in the pocket where, look, I don't want to get on Jimmy Garoppolo, but I think we could all agree. With Jimmy G, at times it just felt like the play was just rushed. It felt like there was just panic in the pocket. Like, if I don't get it out in 3 seconds, then I got to get rid of it somehow. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
You know how many plays we saw where it's like, there's no extensions of the play. With Brock Purdy, it's like, okay, 1,001, 1,002, 1,003. Wait, it's not there. Let me roll out a little bit. Let me see if I can find something.
Yeah.
And he's just He's got the total patience. He's got the patience of a shortstop, like you said, when it plays in the hole and he's getting the ball out of his glove. And he flips the hips. I'm like, this guy is so patient. So it felt like at times I'm like, wow, this guy's going to be a good one for a long time. When you have those traits this young in your career, this early in your career, there's no going back.
He sees the field. There was a play. He could have ran for a first down, but Wagner's out on the edge. It's 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4. They're in the red zone. And he runs out to allow the linebacker to come up to him, and then he looks back to the middle of the field, and then bang, hits Debo. Should have been a touchdown on the Debo play, and Debo plows 3 or 4 guys, and then Shanahan thankfully gives Debo the little end-around play, and he gets that touchdown right there. But, like, you either have that or you don't. His feel for the game is unbelievable. And I thought the offensive line didn't give him a lot of time. On the Debo bomb, he had a great platform to throw off of. Outside of that, I thought he was hurried a lot.
Feliciano didn't have his best game yesterday.
Why wasn't Burford playing?
Burford was out with the injury. He was deemed out. I think it was a knee, if I'm not mistaken, before the game. But I got the alert before the game, like, when they showed you that.
Yeah, I know. I'm walking in and
Burford's not going to.
Drew Lock starting.
Because Burford played well last week in Philly.
He did.
He played well. So I think Burford is a little better than Feliciano because Greg also was diagramming it. They were on his studs, loops to Feliciano's side there. So you missed him. And look, some of these injuries, Hargrave, today's not the day to freak out over, but Armstead, Hargrave, Charvarius Ward, there's some things you got to fix here.
You know who I haven't brought up in the first hour and a half? I thought Javon Kinlaw had a really good game.
Javon Kinlaw's played some good ball.
I've crushed this guy for multiple years. And at times he's deserved it. But when you play well, you also deserve praise. And I think that Javon Kinlaw's looked really good.
No, he has.
And I thought Cleveland Farrell made plays.
Cleveland Farrell was in the backfield.
I thought Randy Gregory made a play.
No doubt.
These other guys, Chase made a play.
Nah, he was good. Kinlaw deserves his love. This offense, though, Shasky, to me, I've been waiting for the offense to catch up to the defense under Shanahan. And this is the year, finally. We always discuss this. Can the offense pick up the defense at any point in time? Well, the defense gave up 16 points yesterday. I'll live with that. Every single week, you give up 16 points, you're going to give your team a chance to win, especially with this offense.
The only thing that it was frustrating from the defensive point of view is that they gave up some wide open throws that, to me, there was just some blown coverages. Like the Noah Fant play, he's wide open. You can't have that.
You can't have that.
And there was a couple of
the screenplay was just a beautiful design. That was beautiful by Shea Walder.
Well, that was what the Niners ran against them up in Seattle 2 years ago.
Yeah, no, that was beautiful. The Thursday night game last year. Yeah.
The double screen to the wide open tight end in the middle. No, it was perfectly timed. They also threw, I thought, Kenneth Walker had one of the great runs. It looked like a punt return where he shifted field multiple times, and we just missed 5 or 6 tackles.
They had their moments. Seattle was going to be desperate. This was a desperation game for them. They've lost 3 straight. Now they fall below 500. They've lost 4 straight, 6 and 7. Lost their 5th straight to the 49ers. So I expected the game to be ugly at times. It's divisional games. Divisional games sometimes are just a little different.
I agree with that.
Seattle was going to come differently. They were going to come with a little more urgency.
And they had 3 extra days of rest.
3 extra days of rest and a little more urgency after what happened on Thanksgiving night. But this offense, Shasky, I can't get over it. Brock Purdy, 368 passing yards. Brandon Ayuk goes for 126 in the pass game. Deebo Samuel gets to another 7 for 149. Christian McCaffrey with 145 rushing yards. The 49ers became the first team to have at least one player with 300 or more passing yards, 2 players with 100 or more receiving yards, and 1 player with 100 or more rushing yards in the same game since the Ravens did it back in 2002. It also marked the first time this team has accomplished that feat in a single game since that Buffalo game I referenced earlier when they beat the Bills 45-3 in 2012, and Alex Smith had over 300 passing yards. Vernon Davis had 100. Michael Crabtree had 100, and Frank Gore had 100 rushing yards, but it didn't look like this. It didn't look like this.
Look around the league right now at all the young quarterbacks, and you see a lot of up and down, and they don't have teams as good as the Niners, but you have to make the most of your situation. Trevor Lawrence has been up and down. Even C.J. Stroud had a tough game, and he got knocked up in that game yesterday. Russell Wilson up and down, you know what I mean? He's a Hall of Famer. Mahomes crying and whining, and he's an all-time legend. Herbert hasn't looked great this year. There are some quarterbacks around the league that haven't looked good. This guy has looked phenomenal outside of a couple of fourth quarters.
Yep. 5-quarter stretch.
That's how critical we are of this guy's play. He's been brilliant.
3,553 passing yards, 25 touchdown passes, 7 interceptions. Let's go to the Lions, man. It's your show, not our show, on a Monday, a Victory Monday that is on the Morning Roast, 888-957-9570. Let's go to Joel in San Jose. Joel, what's happening? You're on the rush. You're on the roast.
It is nothing better than a win Monday. Welcome, Bonte, to the show. This team is incredible. It's probably my favorite team in the last 30 years. 94 will give them that. There's difference makers at every freaking level. We can go all up and down the roster. We all know about it. For me, the difference maker on this team for the culture and the way we play football is Deebo freaking Samuel. In the first quarter of that terrible Cleveland game, he goes out with the shoulder. And then for the next 3 weeks, we get a little weird. We get a little off track. We hit the bye. And Deebo comes back, and then we just start punching people in the mouth. He brings the physicality. He walks out in the tunnel. He's got the boombox. He's dancing. He's creating culture. And when he gets on the field, he makes you feel the pain. You do not tackle Deebo Samuel. Deebo Samuel tackles you.
You almost nailed it.
He was so close.
But he was so close. You see Brandon Ayuk there, 6 catches on 9 targets, 21 yards a catch for Brandon Ayuk. But Deebo Samuel, and it's a great reminder of what this guy is. He's an all-time 49er. And when you pair it, remember we had the deep philosophical conversation back in training camp. Remember we did a deep dive on Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel and what they could present to a defense and what they present for this football team. And they're both different. Deebo Samuel, whatever position you want to label him as, I just call him a playmaker because the guy knows how to make plays.
Yes.
His hands have gotten better, Shasky. He catches a lot with his hands and not his chest.
Yes.
And then to run after the catch. Like, I don't know what his 40 time is, but whenever he gets the ball in his hands and he gets ahead of steam, it's rare that he gets caught from behind.
It's the Jerry Rice-like quality where he doesn't get caught from behind, but he's so much more physical than Jerry was on those plays. But forever, Jerry's like, I didn't run the fastest 40, but nobody caught me from behind.
Nobody caught him from behind.
I mean, he's unbelievable. He's got 4 receiving touchdowns this year. He's got 5 rushing touchdowns this year. He's got 900 yards from scrimmage. 900.
He basically missed 3 games.
He's had a really good bounce-back season. He's got 4 more games to go. I mean, you're looking at a guy who's going to have double-digit touchdowns again.
And he looks faster. He feels faster. I wonder if Deebo feels like he's faster. Here's Deebo Samuel after the game.
I wouldn't say I'm faster. It's just like when I'm in the open field. I think I just got another gear that people haven't seen. So they're like, yo, Deebo, I ain't know you was that fast, but really can move.
No, he can move. And then you get Ayuk on the other side. But it's about Brock. It all starts with him. You need the quarterback, and I don't want to hear this, oh, man, he has all these weapons. Well, you know what? Peyton Manning had all those weapons, and he got 1 Super Bowl. All right? He had Marvin Harrison, Reggie Wayne, who was the tight end, Dallas Clark. He had Brendan Stokely in his slot. He had Joseph Adai or Edgerrin James. Nobody complained. What did we do? We gave Peyton Manning MVPs.
Dominic Rhodes.
Yeah. So what's bad in that Super Bowl? Wasn't bad. But seriously, we never made excuses for Peyton.
No.
We don't make excuses for Kurt Warner. We didn't make excuses for Steve Young and Joe Montana. Let's stop making excuses for Brock Purdy.
And
he's doing what he needs to do with these weapons.
Well, we're acting like Jalen Hurts isn't throwing to Devontae and A.J. Brown.
I know. With Dallas Carter.
I mean, come on. Yeah, every guy has playmakers. Now, he might have a couple more than others, but that's how teams choose to allocate their funds. And when the time comes, one day down the line, we'll figure out the financial component with Brock, and we'll see what the roster is. I don't know if anyone picked up on this. There was a subtle Ian Rappaport tweet that went out in the morning.
Yep.
The salary cap is going to go up by at least $18 million next year.
Right. That helps.
Yeah.
That helps.
Yeah, that helps a lot. And the Niners are going to be the benefactor of that. So let's just say 2 years from now, if it goes up at the current rate, you're looking at an extra $40 million from today's date at minimum of what the salary cap's going to go up to.
Yep.
Stop worrying about trading people away. The Niners have been very frugal and very good when it comes to allocating their money over the last 2 seasons. They're going to be fine. They're going to be fine.
Are you talking about in terms of just re-signing Ayuk and re-signing Chase Young? If they want Brandon Ayuk is going to be a Niner for a very long time. We don't need to be in a hurry to trade this guy and say, oh, we need to pick and choose. I never got that conversation over the last 2 years about picking and choosing between Deebo and Ayuk. Oh, we always talked. Yes. I was like, why about just keeping both? Yes. Don't you want more playmakers?
At minimum. And I know Seattle's somewhere going like, I can't wait till they pay Brock Purdy. At minimum, you can't give him anything for 3 years.
Yeah, no doubt.
It's not hitting your books.
No.
So everyone needs to take a deep breath. We're fine financially.
Fine. They're always going to be.
And by the way, B, I don't know if you're paying attention to this, but you look up, and I know he didn't have the greatest game yesterday. He did have a couple of pass deflections and a really big hit in the backfield. Nick Bosa is going to get double-digit sacks again this year, and it's been a down year.
He may get it this Sunday. He may get it this Sunday against the Arizona Cardinals in a down year. But you know what? You know what's so good about Bosa, though? You can see that he's saving his best for last.
100%.
He's got some juice now.
I thought he was in the backfield. There's one play where actually Drew Lock climbed up in the pocket and ran for it, and Dre Greenlaw came in and gave him the old woo-wap. But Bosa was in the backfield a lot.
I honestly thought it was his best game of the season.
Really?
Yeah.
Without a sack. Interesting.
Bosa was in that backfield every single play. And then Greg Olsen, the broadcast version, once you do that, the broadcast version shows that Bosa at times is lining up at D tackle.
Yeah.
He's lining up in the A-gap.
Yeah.
He was lined up inside. He was playing the loopy games. He was running some stunts. I thought that was Bosa's best game. 97 was in the backfield damn near every play.
And now, did you notice Kevin Givens has been solid?
Solid, very solid.
I mean, I look at these D tackles. I'm like, stop overpaying in free agency for D tackles. You can get a guy like Kevin Givens who's giving you great production.
No doubt. And you know what? Let Armstead rest. If you could buy rest for one more week.
On that.
Let's do it.
Did you see Mook Dog wearing his 91 jersey to the stadium?
I did see that. Mook Dog loves Eric Armstead. That video that they posted last week when Armstead was going to get nominated for Men of the Year, the Walter Payton Men of the Year, you saw Kinlaw damn near choking up. That's his guy. He's helped Kinlaw in a lot of ways, be a mature human being, being a better guy in the community. Who knows, man? Maybe you see you re-sign Kinlaw for the low. You got a hometown discount.
All right, and that was the Morning Roast. Bonte and Shasky on earlier today, of course, here on 95.7 The Game, reacting to this this Niners win. Another win for the San Francisco 49ers over the Seattle Seahawks, 28-16 yesterday in Santa Clara. And the offense just chunk play after chunk play. You had a big Deebo Samuel touchdown. George Kittle had a long touchdown. Brandon Ayuk had multiple long catches, although he did not find the end zone. But Brock Purdy, a career high in passing yards. And the Niners just got a bunch of chunk plays. You had, of course, the first play from scrimmage, a Christian McCaffrey 72-yard run where he was tackled at the 3-yard line. This Niners offense is clicking on all cylinders right now. All right, time for a break here on Best of the Game. When we come back, we'll hear from Willard and Dibbs as those guys reacted to the Niners win over the Seattle Seahawks. The Niners' 5th consecutive win, and with the loss from the Philadelphia Eagles to Dallas last night, at the moment, the 49ers, the number 1 seed in the NFC. All that and more is coming up. Best of the Game as it continues coming up after this. We're sponsored by AC Transit.
Get in where you fit in. AC Transit wants you to drive the East Bay. Take the wheel of your career and level up. No driving experience required. Paid training is provided. New bus operators are eligible for a $2,000 bonus. Secure the bag. Apply today at AC Transit.
My little brother's friends have been camped out at our place for 2 days straight. 3. It's because of the Xfinity 10G network. Internet that can handle a house full of screens at once, with basically no interruptions. And it's only getting faster. When I was their age, internet like this was a pipe dream.
You sound like my grandpa.
Please go home.
The next generation 10G network only from Xfinity. The future starts now. Now through December 21st, new customers can get 1.2 gigabit internet on the Xfinity 10G network for just $25 a month for 2 years with no annual contract and Wi-Fi equipment included when you add Xfinity Mobile with unlimited data at regular rates. Go to Xfinity.com/10G, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Requires paperless blend and auto-pay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Taxes and fees extra. Xfinity Mobile requires Xfinity Internet. After promo, regular rates apply to internet service and Wi-Fi equipment. Actual speeds vary.
Did you know gas goes bad in as little as 30 days? Bad gas can cause rough starts, poor performance, or no starts at all. Stable, America's #1 fuel stabilizer, ensures quick and easy starts after storage. Stable's proprietary formula keeps fuel fresh for 2 years, outperforming competitors. Whether it's your car, truck, boat, lawnmower, leaf blower, weed trimmer, ATV, motorcycle, or anything else with an engine, when you store, start with Stable.
Oh, this cold.
Honey?
Honey?
Honey, you need DayQuil Severe Honey.
DayQuil Severe Honey gives you powerful cold and flu symptom relief with a honeylicious taste, because life doesn't stop for a cold. Okay, I'm ready to go.
Now I'm getting a cold.
Honey. Try DayQuil Severe Honey for powerful cold and flu relief. DayQuil Severe with honey flavor. The daytime coughing, aching, stuffy head, fever, Honeylicious, power through your day, medicine. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
When people have a craving to explore new and traditional Asian cuisines, they head to P.F. Chang's, where scratch-made dishes come from the 2,000-year-old tradition of wok cooking. P.F. Chang's wanted to explore new possibilities for their website. They turned to AmericanEagle.com. AmericanEagle.com re-architected P.F. Chang's website, integrating multiple third-party systems to create a unified digital experience. The results? Improved page speed and performance, personalized content based on users' location, intuitive online ordering, an increase in organic search visibility, and a 40% increase in new users. For scratch-made Asian cuisine, visit your local P.F. Chang's or go to pfchangs.com for website design, development, digital marketing, and hosting that produce efficiency, revenue, and results. Visit AmericanEagle.com. P.F. Chang's and AmericanEagle.com. Another example of the best businesses in the world, turning to the best in the business for websites. Go to AmericanEagle.com or call 877-WEB-NOW1. That's 877-WEB-NOW1.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today. 1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate your car today at carsforkids.org. Your car, running or not, can be picked up as soon as the next day. No title? No problem. Call 877-CARS-FOR-KIDS or go online at carsforkids.org to donate today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Hurry! It's your last chance to donate for 2023.
The smarter way to clean your floors. It's time to make the swap. Swiffer Power Mop.
Introducing the new Swiffer Power Mop, the all-in-one tool that gives you a mop and bucket clean in half the time. The solution's built right in, so no heavy bucket, and the pad has hundreds of scrubbing strips to get deep into grout. Don't mop harder, mop smarter.
Swiffer Power Mop. Swiffer Power Mop.
At Grainger, we're for the ones who specialize in saving the day and for the ones who've mastered the art of keeping business moving. We offer industrial-grade supplies for every industry with same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders, all backed by real people ready to help. So you can get the right answers and products right when you need them. Call, clickgrainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Meet Cheryl. Hey. She's on vacation and lost in the moment. Unfortunately, so is her Chase debit card.
It's gotta be somewhere.
Maybe she lost it at salsa night.
These skirts should have pockets.
Or maybe she lost it at Pilates.
3 and 2 and...
But she's not worried. With the Chase mobile app, she can lock her card till it turns up. Tools that help protect. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
San Francisco, overnight low 49 degrees, partly cloudy.
Weather brought to you by Cricket Wireless. Switch to Cricket and let your flip era unfold by getting the all-new extraordinary Motorola Razr for just $199.99. Smile, you're on Cricket.
Now, back to the best of the game on 95.7 The Game.
Welcome back. Best of the Game continues here on 95.7 The Game. Mark Randy with you until 7 o'clock. We just heard from Bonte and Shasky on the Morning Roast. Let's fast forward to Willard and Dibbs now. Of course, the guys reacting to this 49ers win from yesterday at Levi Stadium against the Seattle Seahawks. Final score 28-16. Brock Purdy, a career high in passing yards. Deebo Samuel got into the end zone 2 more times. He had a rushing touchdown, which, by the way, broke an NFL record. He now has the most rushing touchdowns by any player who's a primarily a wide receiver in NFL history with that rushing touchdown yesterday. So some history for Deebo Samuel. Christian McCaffrey had a 72-yard run, although he did not get into the end zone. That was kind of the shocker of the day. The Niners offense absolutely rolling, but Christian McCaffrey did not get a touchdown. But the defense also did a pretty good job, specifically on star receiver for the Seattle Seahawks, DK Metcalf, who had 2 catches on the first drive, including a 31-yard touchdown, did not have a catch the rest of the game. And by the end of the game, he was pretty frustrated when Fred Warner intercepted a 4th down pass from Drew Lock, which basically sealed the game. DK Metcalf would later throw Fred Warner to the ground, and they would get into it. Diamador Lenore came over and gave him a couple of shoves as well. Ultimately, DK Metcalf and Diamador Lenore would both be ejected from the game in the final couple of minutes. But that's where Willard and Dibbs began their conversation earlier today about DK Metcalf and his struggles against the San Francisco 49ers. You got to imagine DK's pretty frustrated with his performances against the Niners of late. And then the guys ultimately start talking about Brock Purdy and just how good he is. Forget that he's a second-year guy, drafted Mr. Irrelevant 20 months ago. He's just a star. He's a great quarterback. It's as simple as that. That was the conversation earlier today with Willard and Dibbs here on 95.7 The Game, and that's how we wrap up Best of the Game on this Victory Monday right here on 95.7 The Game.
Greg Olson makes me mad at least once per Sunday.
Why?
Just because he says stuff. You want to know how he got me this time? So the Fred Warner DK Metcalf thing. All right. They replay it 147 times.
Yep, loved it.
And you watch it. I did too. I loved it. The Niners are so in DK's head. It's happened every single time they play.
I mean, that's a low goat fence. It
is.
To get his goat, it's pretty easy to get his goat.
Did you hear what Shanahan told the team before the game? Special gift for whoever sends DK over the edge today.
Nice.
And Fred, I think you got a little extra Christmas present coming because you get it this time around.
And why did that get DK so mad? That he dared to lateral the ball after a game-ending pick?
No, I think that the movement was already in play. Like he had him by the waist and he's frustrated. The ball had gotten picked. He got that touchdown catch in the opening drive, and he pretty much never saw the ball again.
Right.
The Niners completely know how to take DK out of the game, and it frustrates the hell out of him, and he's wired hot, and that's fine. But it was funny to me. He then body slams Fred on the ground, so Fred gets up and gives him the whack in the back of the head, and then Fred adeptly is like,
genius.
What's the matter? We're fine here. Hands up, hands up. What's the problem? And so the officials can't come at him, so they replay it like 12 times, and I guess Olson's not watching the first 11 times. They suddenly replay it, and they show Fred coming from behind DK, and Greg goes, okay, now it makes sense. So that's where it started. It started right there when Fred hit him in the back.
Right.
And as usual, it's the guy who reacts who gets flagged.
I'm
like, that's not where it started, you dummy. He threw him to the ground. That's exactly what Greenlaw did the week before in Philly.
Right.
They got flagged.
Well, except that player had the football.
Exactly.
And Fred Warner did not have the football.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
He did a moment before. Anyway, like, no big deal. But just like, Greg, no, that's not what started it.
And for everybody who's saying Demo should not have been thrown out, you have to watch the whole sequence because he got thrown out because he came back. It wasn't for the initial, I don't think, it was for the initial shot on DK. If you watch the whole fracas, which took about 3 minutes.
That's a good word.
He gets separated, and then he comes back in, and he runs and he dives back in the pile and tries to put his hat on someone else.
They love coming after DK Metcalf because it works.
Easy.
And they've got their number. What's the rec? Did you see that split screen on Pete Carroll against the Niners when Russell Wilson's not the QB? Oh, my God.
Is it winless?
Oh, like firmly winless.
Wow.
And stats that will break your back. If it's your favorite team. Like, they have not even been a contest for the 49ers with no Russell Wilson. So, anyway, another great day for the 49ers. Willard and Dibbs, glad you're with us. And we're going to take your calls. We're going right to them here in just a sec. We're asking, like, why, and I don't want to make this like, oh, gosh, nobody You're not allowed to have a different perspective. I just personally don't understand. And you can think Purdy, I do. I think he's a star. And you can think much less of that. I think that's fair. Like, oh, no, he's good. He's good. Still got some things to figure out. That's all fine. But if you're still flying over, I still see people who are like, give me a break. That guy's not, that little guy, MVP? Yes. That little dork, MVP. Yes. How can you watch a Niner game and come away with the opinion that many have? It's a freaking star. Star.
I mean, he's been amazing. I don't know how you can watch any of his games. You can look at the Philly game, the Seattle game, any game you want to look at. Yes, he's had some bad moments. He's had some picks. He had a pick yesterday, which was a bad throw.
Yeah, I thought that was on him, not Brandon.
Well, it depends on what Brandon was supposed to do.
Sure.
But the quarterback throws it. It was a miscommunication sensation is what it was.
And they had a few of them yesterday.
Yeah.
They had a few of them.
And Ayuk dives, and it's a deflection, it's a pick, and, it's on the quarterback, essentially, until we know otherwise. But that's it. Other than that, he was spectacular. So, I mean, what do you want from him?
Why is that so uncomfortable? It feels like every time we put a new label on him, MVP, I'm going to do it right now, star. Why is that so uncomfortable for people?
Because look at him.
Right, but so
look
what?
At him.
But look
at how he dresses.
But look at a lot of our sports stars. Look at Phil Mickelson.
Well, Steph Curry, I think, is a great comp in terms of looks. I'm not saying that Brock Purdy's the Steph Curry of football, but
Tom Brady couldn't beat me down the field. I could now, but you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, star in sports does not need to be
LeBron James. I mean, that's a star.
DK Metcalf.
IST champ, LeBron James.
Indeed.
Big for him.
Big 500K.
Big if true.
Man, he needed it. Yep, needed it.
USC's not cheap.
It is for him. Diego and Marin. Hey, Diego, what's up? Thanks for calling.
Hey, Willis and Gibbs. The negative opinions about Purdy come from his draft position being Mr. Irrelevant because they come with expectations, like super low expectations. And Kurt Warner wasn't drafted, meaning when he walked in the door, nobody had any expectations of him. And so he was allowed to write the book and write the narrative about how he plays. And Purdy basically has to prove he's not as bad as every Mr. Irrelevant ever every time he touches the ball.
I mean, I totally get it, except for I think that those things are very equal, and you seem to be creating a separation there. You're the last pick in the draft versus not picked at all. To me, the expectations are exactly the same. There are none.
There's no reason to think they're the same. Being undrafted means nobody had an evaluation of you. Being the last pick means you're the worst person. You're the worst kid to pick on the kickball team or whatever. You're the worst player.
Right, but actually, no, the undrafted guy is even worse than the one who was picked because and I don't want to get into semantics with you, Diego, but do you understand what I'm saying? Like when you get to that level of the draft, no one's expecting anything from anybody by then. 7th round picks usually don't even make the team. And undrafted players, obviously, are undrafted players. Like, I think the expectations, thanks, Diego, for Kurt Warner and Brock Purdy are dead on exactly the same. There are none.
Right.
There were absolutely none. No one expected a damn thing from either of them.
And I'm looking at the Kurt Warner bio in terms of before that year, and the Rams left him unprotected in the expansion draft by the Browns, and the Browns did not choose him, even though the only Browns quarterback was Scott Milanovic. So the Rams basically were forced to keep him. Bono leaves in free agency. Trent Green is a starter. Banks, who was ahead of Warner the previous year, was traded to the Ravens. And so now it's Warner backing up Trent Green. Green tears his ACL, Rodney Harrison in a preseason game. And there you go. Dick Vermeil has no choice but to go to Kurt Warner.
This team will rally around Kurt Warner.
Right.
I'll never forget it.
We will rally around Kurt Warner and we'll play good football.
Yeah. So I just wonder why. I wonder why there are multiple opinions here, and I'm not saying everybody needs to see it exactly the same or agree, but this is different now. You know, draftism, sure. Sizeism, sure. golly gee willikers.
Ism.
Sure.
Clothes-ism. J.C. Penney-ism.
But shouldn't that be done by now?
Aw shucks-ism.
Right? Oshkosh bagoshism. Shouldn't that be done by now? Maybe that's a better way to ask it. How many games before you're like, seen enough? Star.
I think 4 more.
Star.
4 more.
Okay.
Honestly, because Mark, you and I have seen every snap that he's ever taken, and we've seen every throw. The nation has not.
Okay,
the country has not.
That's fair.
In terms of like who is still out there saying the things that they're saying, it's the country. And I wonder about the Dak versus Brock MVP race, because Dak is much more of a known commodity and he plays for the Cowboys. So from a national standpoint, there's going to be a lot more Dak than there is Brock.
Yes.
Just on, like, for people who haven't really watched both.
But let's not act like the 49ers are hiding.
No,
the 49ers.
but they're not the Cowboys.
Yeah, but, I mean, their games are, like we just said, Kevin Burkhardt should get an apartment in Santa Clara.
Right.
I mean, the Niners are not hiding. This fan base has been traveling all over the dang country. They are in a spotlight game every single week. Thanksgiving night, Christmas night. Here you go. Niners. They're the biggest thing outside the NFC East for sure.
Right.
For sure.
Outside the NFC East.
Right.
But think about Dallas in terms of like last week, they had Seattle on Thursday night. National spotlight.
Sure.
Last night, Sunday Night Football. At Buffalo this coming Sunday in a marquee afternoon game. At Miami, same thing, Christmas Eve. And then they have Detroit on Saturday night, the third game of a Saturday night tripleheader. These are all like marquee national spots.
Right, but I think the Niners could probably, right? They played the Cowboys on Sunday Night Football, the Eagles in the game of the week, Thanksgiving night, Christmas night.
The Baltimore game, I think, is everything.
That's going to be, oh my God, the rating for that thing is going to be
everything.
Absolutely dynamic.
Yeah.
Just dynamic. All right, let's keep going. How about Carol in San Mateo? Hi, Carol, what you doing?
Hey, how are you? I can't believe I'm calling this show, but I'm a fairly new listener. I love you guys.
Oh, Carol, welcome. Welcome.
Thank you. When Brock Purdy came on the scene last year, I was in shock with his ability, even at that time, being so young, to step into the role that he did. I think it's what you've both been just saying, his composure. Well, I think he was on another level. I think he was the star, and his intuition, his instincts are just incredible. He's not, he doesn't have a huge personality. His composure is kind of quiet, but I'm so impressed at how he can just stay focused with everything around him at his age, and his knowledge is just beyond. I don't know. He's on another level, I think.
Carol, I think you're touching on some of this here, and thank you so much. Welcome to the show. We're glad to have you. Appreciate you calling. Like, I think the things that Brock Purdy does well, they're a little harder to see, and maybe that's a big part of it. You know what I mean? When people talk about him, obviously he does not jump off the screen when you look at him physically.
Sure.
And his draft status never jumped off the screen. All of those things. What jumps off the screen? You start hearing people go like, his processing.
Right.
Well, what the hell does that mean when I'm sitting there watching TV? What you
it's
know
like
what
your
I mean?
computer that has a great processor.
Right. Have you seen the decision making on this kid? Right. Like, but by now, that's all I'm saying. By now, isn't this over? It's over, right?
For us, yeah.
This portion of the conversation is we've reached the end.
Well, we have to go through it.
This guy's a star.
Is Brock Purdy? Is he any good? Yeah, he's good. How good is he? He's really good. How really good is he? He's great. How great is he? He's amazing. How amazing is he? He's the MVP. And I think that's where, when you go through all those, like the old flow chart, how are you feeling today? If yes, go this way. If no, go that way. And I think we've gotten to the point where you've gotten all the way through, and how amazing is he? Well, he might be the best quarterback in the league this year.
Yeah.
He might be the best quarterback in the league, period. And that will have to be proven out over Super Bowls and future years. But
he's having the best season.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't even really get into the whole, this may sound funny to people with how much we talk about this. I don't care where he is on people's rankings boards. I don't
Steven
care.
Ruiz, 19.
Yeah. Good. Behind Caleb Williams. Fun. Super. Cool content. Whatever. I don't care. That doesn't bother me. I'm not here for the grandiose, he's going to be great 7 years from now. I have no idea what the hell is going to happen 7 years from now or even next year. He's having the best year this year, and there seem to be a lot of people out there that, because of all the dynamics we're talking about, feel like he shouldn't even sort of be considered in the MVP conversation because of all this. There's too much good stuff around him.
Right. Well, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Why is Kyle Shanahan not going to be Coach of the Year?
Why is Kyle Shanahan? Because Coach of the Year, it's a good question, and I know why you're asking it.
You know exactly why I'm asking you. Because his team is really good.
But that's not it. It's not just that his team is good. It's also that they were expected to be good. Coach of the Year has become who surprised us the most.
Right, which is a joke.
I agree with you. Like,
so
for instance,
MVP is like, who's the most valuable player? Is Brock Purdy not valuable because he happens to be really good with a team that's also really good?
No,
is that not valuable?
You're 100% right.
And I'm just playing devil's advocate, and I'm kind of playing your side of the street because in terms of what other people think and other voters, you look at this team and go, well, I mean, think about yesterday. McCaffrey goes 72 yards on the opening snap.
Yeah.
I mean, what did Brock Purdy, did he hand the ball to him firmly, and did he make that happen?
It's actually a toss, and it was beautiful.
Exactly.
It's beautiful.
Whatever.
No, like, to your
Get the point.
I do. The Coach of the Year is going to, like, I could see people going, dude, Stefanski. Stefanski's on like his fourth quarterback, and they're 8-5. And so people will go, right? How about D'Amico? D'Amico will get Coach of the Year consideration because they were supposed to be absolute trash, and they're 7-6. If they end up in the playoffs, could D'Amico get votes?
It's bad loss yesterday.
I mean, no, yes.
Yeah.
It's predictable. And CJ got knocked out.
Yeah, he did.
You know what I mean? But like you'll see this. Like, even go to I don't know. I mean, Minnesota. Look what they've been through. You lose your quarterback. Some might talk about Campbell in Detroit, although they're leveling off a little bit.
The fade route.
Yeah, but you vote for who you're like, whoa, you surprised us. The Niners aren't surprising anybody.
Right. But that to me is the nature of the flaw in both awards, because the MVP, so Brock Purdy's having not only the best year, but he's having a borderline historic season in terms of quarterback rating and completion percentage and all the rest of it.
Yards per attempt.
But we devalue him because he has so much talent around him and he's got a great coach.
Right.
And a great team. That to me is nonsense.
Totally agree. Jonathan in the city. Hey, Jonathan, you're on with Willard and Dibbs. What's up?
Hey, guys. I just want to say, you see that shot of McCaffrey and Kyle Juszczyk on the sideline? That's the best poster of, what was dubbed last week as gangster nerds, Stanford and Harvard sitting together. Another thing, Mark, to answer your question, those people are never going to go away because you know why? There's a lot of insecure people out there, and Brock is the complete opposite of those people. Brock is a very secure person. He's not jealous about anything. He's not here to please anybody but the team and the coach and to do a good job as a 49er quarterback. And you know what he thinks in his head every time he walks away and goes to the locker room after a win? If you want to destroy my sweater, hold this thread as I walk away.
As I walk away. Outstanding, Jonathan. Outstanding. He brought Weezer to the party.
Wow, that's Weezer.
Yeah, that was strong. That was, I love it when Jonathan's phone is clear.
Little Weezer. I didn't know that one.
Yes, Weezer.
Okay.
Yes, I believe the song is called Undone.
Right, and it fits the Brock Purdy profile,
yes, it
I'm
does.
sure. It's just...
You know what, though? Like,
is he trying to dress more nerdy now? Is he like...
he should.
Is he doubling down?
He should.
We need like glasses with tape on it and a pocket protector.
We need to send him an ugly Christmas sweater that says Gangsta Nerds on it.
Yeah.
And just let him waltz in with like bad oversized sunglasses.
It's incredible.
Christmas night, it'd be incredible. Against the Baltimore Ravens. I don't know, man. Are we a more cynical world now than we were 25 years ago?
Yes.
I mean, but the thing is, everybody thinks that. You ask anybody who's 40, the 20-year-olds don't know what they're doing. Ask anyone who's 60. The 30-year-olds don't know what they're doing.
But
you know
that's
what I mean?
always been the case.
Everyone always thinks the world's going to hell in a handbasket. I don't really buy into that, but I'm trying to figure out, because Jonathan's like, it's because people are insecure. We've always had insecure people. What is it about this particular surprising player? Because from Warner to Brady to anyone else, George Kittle, for crying out loud. No one's ever said it about George. You're in the 5th round. Are you just good because, I don't know, Kyle's calling your routes? No, like, we don't do. Why this guy? Why this guy makes people so hesitant to just go, my man's a star?
We've never seen it. We've never seen a player drafted in that spot do what he's doing, especially this fast.
Isn't Warner more surprising? Like, at least somebody used draft capital on Brock Purdy.
Right.
Somebody gave Kurt Warner.
Draft capital is a big way to describe it. But
I mean, they could have picked anybody.
But Kurt Warner had already been a pro in a number of leagues. He'd been
Arena League.
And in the World League of American Football, the WLAF.
I mean, that's probably barely better than Iowa State.
No, but Kurt Warner, by the time he became Kurt Warner in 1999, he was 28, and he had been a pro in multiple leagues. He'd been a grocer, and so it was equally unexpected. But when you look at it now, you can go, okay, he's a guy who at least had quarterbacked, and he had done the pro thing in a number of different leagues. This guy is baby-faced and out of nowhere and Mr. Irrelevant and all the rest of it. So the fact that he's 23 makes it even more remarkable.
Yeah, frightening, man. I got no issue with it. He's a star.
That's Willard and Dibbs earlier today reacting to specifically Brock Purdy's performance yesterday as the Niners beat the Seahawks 28-16. A great day for San Francisco. Brock Purdy, again, a career-high passing yards and leading this offense to heights that, I never thought were possible. You have a ton of great talent around you, but Brock Purdy has really elevated the offense, and it's turned into one of, if not the greatest offense in the NFL this season. All right, that'll do it for Best of the Game today. We'll be back tomorrow bright and early, as always, as we continue to talk Niners. I have a feeling a lot of shows will be talking about Shohei Otani as well, and we got to get ready for Warriors and Suns. That's coming up tomorrow here on 95.7 The Game. For now, though, this is Mark Randy signing off. Thanks so much for tuning in to Best of the Game right here on 95.7 The Game.
The Prophetic Matrix. Unlock the secret code to your destiny. A new revolutionary book by Michael John Toste. The first ebook to make history by being filmed in space. Discover your unlimited future. Get The Prophetic Matrix now on Amazon.com and BarnesandNoble.com.
Lowe's knows how to save pros time and money. Right now,